to play. There's a wave going around the stadium now. I'm not sure if this calls for that. And the entertainment has been fantastic on the pitch. What more can you want as a Barcelona fan? To come and see a team play, the visitors from the Premier League, and give them an absolute hiding. 2 goals for Rafinha. Bernal scored from the set piece. Lamine Yamal's penalty. Fermin Lopez was sent through. 2 goals for Lewandowski. So it's 7-2. I mentioned the fact that makes it, well, it's going to be 13 wins out of 13 since they came back to play here again in November, once all of the various paperwork had been done and they were allowed health and safety and all that. As Barcelona have it, Lamine Yamal's going to try a shot that Ramsdale juggles and then catches above his head. Just juggled it up in the air and then caught it above his forehead.
Yeah, good hands in the end. That's the problem. Newcastle just cannot get up the pitch. Ramsdale throwing it out there, but they are being swarmed by this Barcelona team.
And that makes it now, in these 13 home matches, Chris, an aggregate score in Barcelona's favour of 46-9 in 13 matches. So you can work out the average of that for yourselves. There's this wind, this capricious wind continues to swirl.
It's raining. Do you know, I just felt a spot of rain. Mystic Mark,
our engineer,
he was right. We laughed at him.
I can't feel that. Are you sure?
Yes. Unless somebody's thrown some water over us.
Here is Barcelona again. Rafinha's ball into the box. Looked as though it hit Botman's arm right on the edge of the penalty area. It's swept out of play by Byrne for a throw into Barcelona down the left-hand side. So very likely it'll be Barcelona against Atletico Madrid.
They're checking.
They're having a look. Was Byrne inside the penalty area?
Well, that's the thing, was it?
They're having a look. The referee's saying, wait on. Don't take this yet. And
was it Byrne or Botman? I think it was Botman.
Sorry, Botman, it was, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was outside the
yeah, I just felt a little bit of that moisture in the air. It's the wind. I think the wind's blowing it in off the Mediterranean. As Barcelona, big cheer for Szczesny. And then Olmo, he almost twisted himself into the ground and he's lost possession. And then Osula, Ramsey, Barnes, and Ramsey takes up possession again for Newcastle. Listen to that wind again. I think that's the strongest gust yet. As in comes the challenge from the youngster Espart to put the ball out of play, and he's given a rousing reception for that as well. And Newcastle have got, what, 3 minutes? 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes plus added time before they can be put out of their misery here.
Byrne's gone forward, Botman's gone forward, Chow's gone forward for a long throw from Lewis Hall.
Here it comes, into the near post, headed down, doesn't clear the penalty area. Then the shot from Ramsey, that actually hits Araujo, knocks him off his feet. I think it might have caught him on the side of his head, and he has just gone straight down to the ground, and we'll have another stoppage here.
Yeah, he's down on his back. It was absolutely powered, wasn't it, from Ramsey? A Ramsey rocket right-footed into the side of the head, but yeah, that's a concern. They're pulling him up, but you have to take the time with these head injuries. I mean, listen to the atmosphere here, John. You mentioned 60,000. You said, what did you say, 26, 27? They're going to...
Yeah, the end of that season.
I've got work going on in my house. We had a little flood about 6 months back, and I hope the workmen have finished before the 26-27 season, John.
Well, it's supposed to be finished for 2024. Here's the corner for Newcastle, which is headed wide of the near post by Barnes. Tried to glance it across goal, but headed it wide of the near post. And Araujo does look a little dazed, I must say. He's on his feet, leaning forward. He's taken a right crack on the side of his face. But Barcelona 7, Newcastle 2. A record defeat for Newcastle in European competition. Willock to Hall. Passes it forward down the left wing to Harvey Barnes. Barnes, wonder if he might be in the England squad on Friday morning. We'll see. Now Willock outside the box, back to Hall. Hall with a shot from the angle, I thought there might have been an offside flag there, but
he was offside,
Chesney made the save. And for some reason, the Barcelona players are running back into the penalty area all around him. And I think that might be because Araujo is still feeling the effects of that, the ball in the face that he took.
I am really surprised that we didn't see physio or doctor going on there. I mean, Ramsey, the ball's sitting there. Ramsey absolutely hammers it off his face. And this is... I mean, this is where you think, head injuries. It's a serious head injury, that, and the players just drag him up. I think it's really, really poor, this. I do.
I think Dan Burn might be making that point, to the referee. Dan Burn is talking to the referee, and he's looking at Araujo, and Chesney's coming to have a word as well. And
that's it, I think.
The whistle's gone. Well, he's playing no added time. How odd. Well, what a strange way for a remarkable night's football to end. As the Barcelona club song sounds out and reverberates around the new Nou Camp. What a night for them. 7-2 winners. Newcastle lived with them in the first half, but they could not keep pace in the second. 7-2 on the night, 8-3 on aggregate. A record defeat for Newcastle to finish their season in the Champions League, out in the round of 16.
Yeah, and I mean, for a game and a half, Newcastle were well in this tie, and on paper it is an absolute hammering. 7-2, of course it is, but I mean, well in the game at half-time, the penalty from Yamal giving Barcelona the lead, but then Barcelona just came out. Second half went up a gear, went up 2 gears, and absolutely pummeled Newcastle, who, I mean, it was a sorry state, Newcastle, at the end of this game, and an end to their Champions League campaign, and another disappointing start to the night for another Premier League team.
Yep, Newcastle out. It was always going to be tough to come here to the Nou Camp, the way that Barcelona have played since they've returned to this stadium. So that's 13 wins out of 13 for them here. But as well, they are the Spanish champions. They're the Spanish league leaders. They have got so much experience in this competition. This is now the 25th quarter-final that they've reached in the European Cup / Champions League. And who would bet against them? 7-2 on the night, 8-3 on aggregate. And the Barcelona players here on the pitch down below take the adulation and the cheers from their supporters inside the stadium.
And I suppose the thing is, Chris, that like other games this week, that's not a tight 1 goal in it. That's an absolute blitzing in the second half, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is. And John spoke about the quality of Barcelona. Fermin Lopez, Yamal, Rafinha, they have that quality. Second half, it was a real stroll for them. They dictated the pace of the game. They slowed things down, and then they went through the gears and really gave Newcastle the run around. Eventually, Eddie Howe went for the extra centre-back, and that was the white flag saying, look, we're done here. We can't compete. We're just going to try and keep the score down. And that was a sorry ending in many respects from Newcastle. Eddie Howe was brave the way he set up. He said, I'm going to come to the Nou Camp. I'm going to go toe-to-toe with you. I've got to say, in the first half, it was so exciting. But, yeah, it's a sorry Newcastle performance in the second half. But you can get found out by the quality of teams, like Barcelona, like Real Madrid. I mean, they were phenomenal. And some of the young players they have in their team, they're a delight to watch. You listen to the noise within the stadium. There's that belief that they can possibly go all the way in the Champions League, flying in La Liga, and tonight just shows the confidence of this team, and they're celebrating and they're milking it as they should.
Yeah, I mean, it's an embarrassing scoreline, but they may have been hit 4-7 by the team that actually goes on to win this Champions League.
They look a bit shell-shocked, don't they, John, actually, standing in the corner that their fans are?
Yeah, they went over there, applauded up to the highest part of the stadium currently, which is still pretty high. And many of them had gone, actually, probably long before the end of the match. They're under the floodlights there, but I can see a lot of empty spaces in there. And yeah, they do look quite sheepish the way that they're leaving the field. You know, for a squad of players, some of the most expensive footballers in the world play for Newcastle United, and to be beaten like this by this scoreline, you know, that is chastening.
I often think when we throw this out there, that actually fans of the respective clubs don't really care, and the discussion about the strength of the Premier League is more of a media obsession than a fan obsession. I don't. You know, if you support Arsenal, do you really care how strong the Premier League is if you're going to go and win it? That's the only thing that matters. But John, and I'll ask you this now, because by the time we get to 10 o'clock and are talking about it again, you will have gone long into the Barcelona night. Will it be a valid discussion throughout the media over the next few days, do you think?
Well, it will be a discussion. I thought it was interesting. I was listening to you on Monday night, and when Rory Smith was talking about how many English clubs have reached the latter stages of the Champions League. So they're dominating to an extent, but they're not necessarily dominating the latter stages year after year. Now, in saying that, it could well be, it is a possibility yet as we speak, you know, Liverpool and Arsenal could yet both reach the Champions League final. You know, so there is the possibility of it being an all-English final.
Yeah, no, I think Rory on Monday night was making excuses, and in some respects, Mark, and of course Rory's not here to defend himself, so I won't go too hard. But he was talking about the strength of the Premier League and the big teams in France, PSG, and Barcelona, Real Madrid in Spain having easier games, not such intense games. And we saw Liam Rosenior last night. What was his? He talked about Chelsea players being fatigued and they hadn't had a break. But if you're a top player at a top club, you don't. I think that is an excuse too far, because you don't get a break if you're a top Barcelona player, Real Madrid player, PSG players. You know, they play all year round. I think that's a flimsy excuse, and we're looking for things. The Premier League were getting all the praise for 6 teams when they qualified, but it just shows you that there are a lot of handy clubs around Europe who, on any given day can give you a thrashing, and that's essentially what has happened. And
this is not an outlier in the Champions League knockout stages. You do get crazy results. You get big wins. You know, this is where the players want to do it, and I think we saw this tonight with Barcelona. They were not going to settle for what they've got. They were going for goal after goal here.
Yeah, no, it was a bit of a pummeling in the end. But I mean, you look at the scoreline last night. The Manchester City game, Real Madrid. That was a sort of not a false scoreline, but Manchester City were really good last night. And you look at the score over the 2 legs and think, well, that was an absolute walloping. But it didn't pan out like that. And Newcastle tonight had one bad half, and Barcelona can do that to absolutely any team. They can make you look foolish, they can make you look stupid.
I think also you need, when we're having this discussion, I think you need to look at what PSG did against the English clubs last season in the Champions League. You know, the way that on a regular basis they dismantled the Premier League's best round after round.
John,
we wrote them off, didn't we? Marcus, one of my favourite phrases, that's not how you start, that's how you finish.
Is it?
Yeah. Well,
no, I
meant
PSG. Is that one? No, I know the phrase. I meant, is that one of your favourite phrases?
Yeah, there's many. I've got many. That's one of them.
Okay. All right. Cool. You're going to have a fun evening, John. Go through Chris's favourite phrases this evening. Thank you, John Murray. Chris Sutton, former Spurs England winger, Newcastle winger, Andros Townsend with us this evening as well. Evening, Andros. Where are you on fatigue?
I think, of course, it plays a part. I think the Premier League is the toughest league in the world. And also that the Premier League doesn't get, like in Ligue 1, PSG will get favourable fixtures around the Champions League games. They get fixtures moved so that the players are well prepared for the Champions League games. But this is why the Premier League is the best in the world. We don't have the luxury of being able to favour our best sides. We have 20 competitive sides, and you can't really favour the Champions League side. So we can't laud about how good our league is, but then when it goes against us, all of a sudden, we don't get the favourable fixtures, fatigue and what have you in the latter stages. It's part and parcel. But we had 6 teams in the last 16 of the Champions League. Hopefully we still have 2 or 3 if there's a miracle later on tonight. But the Premier League is definitely still up there as one of the best leagues in the world.
Is it? You said it's the toughest as well, and you've played in various leagues and many years in the Premier League. If it is the toughest, why?
Because, for example, you look at Liverpool and where they are in the table, they're at the top, and they lose to Wolves, who are towards the bottom. Arsenal struggle against Wolves, who are towards the bottom. The sides at the bottom can beat the best sides on any given day, and I don't think you really have that in your Frances, your Spains, and your Italys. You may get a shock every now and then, but in the Premier League, on any given night, you just know a Wolves, a Nottingham Forest, or whoever's at the bottom can beat the top sides, and have beaten the top sides on a consistent basis. And I think that's what makes the Premier League the best league in the world. It's the competitiveness of the teams at the bottom, not only the teams at the top.
Andros is with us at half-time and at full-time as well, which is a good job because we've only got a few minutes until kick-off at Anfield, which is what you can hear in the background. Ian Dennis with the team news.
Yes, well, Mark, Liverpool have made 4 changes from the team that drew with Spurs here at the weekend. Kirkes for Robertson at left-back. Konate comes back fitness-wise to replace Gomez in the centre of defence. And then Salah and Ekitike replace Gakpo as well as Ungamoa. As for Galatasaray, a couple of changes from the first leg last week. Sholoi for Lang, and the former Tottenham defender Sanchez is suspended. So Boué comes in at right-back, and Singo moves across to partner Bardacci.
You talked, what was it, maybe an hour ago, Paul, about a sort of anxious feel around the place. Has that changed as kick-off gets closer?
It's taken a while for it to fill up, but the usual Anfield atmosphere is slowly building. There's that air of expectation. They say the game at the weekend against Tottenham, they didn't leave here in the best of moods. I think there was quite a few of the supporters that booed the manager away from the side of the pitch, and they were disappointed in the way that his team has played. And I think that's happened too often for this set of supporters this season in this stadium, rather than going into a European night full of confidence and expecting to sweep, let's face it, a lesser opponent aside. They're actually thinking this could be a tough game tonight. They've got to start well tonight, Liverpool, and get the crowd on side.
Andros, Jamie Carragher this week has claimed that Liverpool are a team of individuals, and Arne Slot sort of replied to that by saying, I agree with a lot of things Jamie has said this season, but that particular one, I disagree with him. A team that has given up, a team of individuals, or a team that does not work together does not show resilience. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but we have had many. I wonder whether the actual answer is somewhere in the middle of the two, that they're trying to work as a team, but they've got so many new parts that at times they operate as individuals.
I think exactly that. I think going into the season, seeing what Liverpool did with their summer signings, we thought it was going to be a back-to-back title, but football doesn't work that way. Like you said, they have a lot of new players, a lot of top new players that they had to figure out a way of getting them all in the team and getting the best out of them. And I only feel now, looking at the starting 11 now, obviously Isak's had a very serious injury. I think now they're starting to have a consistent starting 11. He probably knows his best 11. They're starting to get that continuity. And I feel like now they're starting to look like a team that we thought they would be at the start. But it's going to take time when you put those new players in with each other and just hope that they're going to gel. It takes time.
What they also need to do, you would have thought, Andros, as well, is make sure they've put this game to bed going into the last 5 minutes. What they don't need to be doing is trying to chase it, because we've seen so many times this season, they get to the last 5 minutes, chase it, and then concede. Yeah,
and I think you look at the threat that Galatasaray have. They've played them twice already this season. They're, especially on the counter-attack, Osimhen, and in the first leg they had Noah Lang, incredible pace. He's not playing today. They've got Leroy Sané on the bench, Yilmaz, Salah. They've got so many players to hit Liverpool on the counter. If they can stay in the lead into the latter stage, into the second half, and Liverpool have to throw players forward, it could be an incredibly difficult night for Liverpool. I feel like they have to get back on level terms early if they're going to have any chance of going through into the next round.
Let's go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, then we'll give you plenty of updates on this throughout the evening during commentary from Anfield. Andy Reid and Chris Coles are there with the home side 5-2 down from the first leg. Chris.
4 Spurs changes from their encouraging Premier League draw with Liverpool. Romero and Van de Ven back together as part of a back 3. It's a return to 3 at the back for Spurs. Javi Simons and Randall Colmwani also come in. Out go the suspended Richarlison. Solanke is injured, Sousa ineligible, and Danzo drops to the bench, which is looking healthier. Udogi, Bergvall and Gallagher are back on it. For Atletico, they rested a whole host of their stars in their win over Getafe in La Liga on Saturday. 2 changes from the first leg. Jan Oblak injured, so Juan Musso starts in goal, and Nahuel Molina replaces Mark Pubia at right back.
Andy Reid, what do they do then?
Oh, it's a good question. It's a good question. It's such a tough ask, isn't it? You know, you're coming here with very little hope. You know, the 3 down, the type of goals, the way they conceded the goals last week. I think stylistically, I think this is not a good matchup. The energy that Atletico Madrid bring, I think, is going to be so difficult for Tottenham tonight to get anything. But what they need to show is a bit of resilience, a bit of fight. They need to try and go after this early on in the game. If they can get a goal early on in the game, maybe try and get this crowd interested in it a little bit. Because if we're being totally honest, they haven't been too interested in much that Tottenham have done this season, and what they're waiting for is a spark from the team. So they're waiting for something to ignite them so they can get behind the team on the pitch tonight. So if they can get one early, maybe get people around here interested and give us a good night.
Do you think they're capable of resilience or a spark? Mickey van der Ven did the press conference, didn't he, this week? And he spoke about the reports that, you know, players don't care. His line was, how do you even come up with this, that players are switched off or don't care about the situation? Well, a lot of Spurs fans might reply to him, we're watching.
Yeah, it's a real trait. It's difficult to ever level that accusation at a player to say that they don't care. And a lot of players come out these days and they talk and they do social media posts, Instagram and all the other. And I don't think the fans here want to really hear the talk. They don't want to see them post. What they want to see is performances out on the pitch. So, you know, Van de Ven, captain, has been a captain, or he is a senior figure within the squad along with Romero. They've both come out and done a lot of talking, but what they want to see is just it being delivered on the pitch. They want to see them. They want to see the performances flow down and some good football played with a bit of fight. So it's up to them to show what they can do tonight.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Chris. So updates from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium throughout the course of the evening. That's the thing, Andros, though, isn't it? I was told very, very early on, I've said this before in my journalistic career, sporting journalistic career, it's the worst thing you could ever do is to accuse a player or a team of not trying. But then it's up to the players, isn't it, to convey with their body language and behaviour that they are trying. It works both ways, I think, for fans.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but from a player's perspective, I think it's the easiest sort of excuse to label that the players don't care, the players are not trying, the players don't care about the club, the players only care about the money. I've never been in a dressing room where that is the case. There are obviously many, many things going wrong in that Spurs dressing room at the moment, but effort will never be one of the biggest factors in that.
Andros for the moment, thank you. More from Andros at half-time and at full-time. 2 games in the WSL this evening, by the way. Chelsea lead Brighton 2-1 at half-time. Just past the half-hour mark in the game between West Ham and Manchester United, and that is goalless. Southampton, Norwich, goalless in the Championship. They've been going for nearly 15 minutes there. MK Dons, Colchester in League 2, an 8 o'clock kickoff, as are all the other Champions League last 16 ties. Earlier, Barcelona beat Newcastle 7-2. But at 8 o'clock, BeIN against Atalanta with BeIN 6-1 up from the first leg. Tottenham Atletico Madrid with the Spanish side 5-2 up from the first leg. And at Anfield, Galatasaray are 1-0 up from the first leg at Liverpool. And here are Paul Robinson and Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Mark. Well, up until about 5 minutes ago, I was thinking this atmosphere feels rather subdued for a European night at Anfield. And bearing in mind, I've covered some spectacular European occasions here at this famous ground. Dortmund 10 years ago, Barcelona in 2009. I was speaking to a Liverpool supporter in the build-up who was saying it might be the occasion where the crowd have to fire up the players. And they have responded. in the last few minutes, to an atmosphere as Virgil van Dijk does a little bit of cheerleading in front of the Kop that you'd expect when Liverpool have to come from behind, Paul Robinson.
Yeah, Galatasaray have just gone into their ritual, their team huddle, and that's lifted the Liverpool crowd. As you say, it was a fairly quiet atmosphere until 10 minutes ago, but then it just sprung to life, and the team are going to have to keep the crowd on side tonight. Start quickly, start well, on the front foot, and really put this Galatasaray team under pressure from the off.
Liverpool are all in red, Galatasaray are all white. They'll be, as the game is underway, Szoboszlai puts the ball straight out of play for a throw on this near side. So Liverpool are playing from right to left. They're defending the Kop. They have Alisson in goal, and Frimpong is playing as a right back. Van Dijk, Konate and Kerkez is the rest of the defence. It means Szoboszlai moves back into his more natural position, his best position in midfield with Gravenberch and McAllister, and then a front three of Salah, Wirtz and Ekitike. As Galatasaray, with Yilmaz now in possession, looks for the ball out towards Jacobs on that far side, the left back, and just leaning into him there was Szoboszlai on his defensive duties, but Galatasaray will win the ball back. They have Çakır in goal, back four of Boué, Singo, Bardacci and Jacobs, Lamina Torreira and Salah in the midfield, Şolay, Osimhen and Yilmaz. As Şolay, who can operate as a right wing back, very versatile Hungarian international. I'm sure he'll try and help out Sacha Boué at every opportunity, but it does lend itself to Galatasaray springing the counter-attack as the ball goes high downfield towards Ekitike, strikes the top of his head, and Boué is there. And then a little slip allows Ekitike to try and get a sniff of the ball, and the defender recovers, and then eventually it goes down the line. But Liverpool have to start this game with a real tempo and urgency.
It's been a lively start. Possession's been turned over 3 or 4 times in the early stages already. But as you say, when Galatasaray have possession, they do have that threat on the counter-attack. Yilmaz, Osimhen and Salah will get up and in and around Osimhen, and they won't be afraid to play direct, and we know that they're a team that are very, very much in form.
Now Galatasaray, due to a UEFA ban, were not allowed to sell tickets to away supporters due to the throwing of objects, lighting of fireworks and crowd disturbances at Juventus last month. However, there are Galatasaray supporters here in Anfield. They're in a central position in the top tier of the Sekeni Dalglish stand on the far side. I would suggest there is a good 100 who have been surrounded by stewards in their luminous jackets that we can just make out underneath one of the gantries over on that far side. And due to the fanatical support of Galatasaray, I would still expect to see the odd one dotted around as well that might have bought tickets from Liverpool. Here is Salah, unwittingly that is. Salah then stumbles inside the penalty area. Liverpool try and win the ball back. Frimpong is there. Szoboszlai, Kerkez, Ekitike left corner of the box. Ekitike goes for a curler right-footed, off target, goal kick, 0-0, 2.5 minutes played.
Yeah, that started with the all-action. Szoboszlai is playing in that midfield role tonight, which he looks better going forward, in my point of view, from in a Liverpool point of view. Mo Salah there, he dropped inside his full-back in between the centre-half. A nicely weighted ball from Szoboszlai into him, gets into the penalty area, ends up falling over his own feet in the end. Mo Salah had kept himself onside. It was a half an opportunity for him.
10 times Szoboszlai has filled in as a right back, starting a game that is, but he had to be in his more effective position for this game as Liverpool look to try and overturn that 1-0 defeat from Istanbul a week ago. We've already brought you Barcelona 7, Newcastle United 2, as the ball is clipped in long towards Ekitike, edge of the area. Şolay tries to run it away. Two Hungarian internationals tangle, both fall to the floor, and Şolay is due to be the offender. We've got a change of referee, actually. It was meant to be Simon Marciniak, but he sustained an injury in the warm-up. So Pavel Ratskovski, who was the fourth official, they've swapped duties, and the bald-headed Marciniak we can see now wearing his green tracksuit top in between the two dugouts down below. So Ratskovski is now the man in the middle in his ultra-blue referee's jersey, and he gives that free kick in favour of Liverpool that Szoboszlai will take. 0-0 early stages, 5 Live, also available on BBC Sounds, and we welcome listeners from Radio Merseyside to our commentary here tonight. As Szoboszlai goes into the penalty area, and it'll be Yilmaz who controls it, passes the ball out towards Şolay, nicks it away from Szoboszlai, keeps the ball in play himself, but quickly challenged by Wirtz. It'll be a Liverpool throw.
That was a really deep defensive line there from Galatasaray. They know the quality that Liverpool have on free kicks, and I think that's forced them into a deeper line when Szoboszlai was on the ball.
Such was the animated nature of Okan Burak and his displeasure at that throw-in going against his side. He actually slipped on the touchline in his dark suit, the Galatasaray scarf draped around his neck. Either that or he's a fan of Harry Potter. Here is Bertz with a cross, that was blocked, comes out then to Kerkez, back inside. McAllister, Konate steps forward. We've just left Van Dijk with Osimhen. Into the penalty area, Liverpool go right-hand side. Ball worked out towards Frimpong. Yilmaz on defensive duties, and the assistant referee is adjudged that Frimpong was the offender there. That'll be a free kick to Galatasaray, 5 minutes in, goalless.
He's got round him there, Frimpong. He's got goal side of Yilmaz. Harsh decision to give a free kick on Frimpong. He's running away, scratching his head, asking the referee, can't understand why the free kick was given against him. He looked to me like he'd got round the defender. The defender was trying to get his body in between the player and the 18-yard box. Didn't look too much in that for me.
On 8 occasions, Liverpool have lost the away first leg by a 1-goal margin in the European Cup/Champions League, and on 5 occasions of those 8 they've come back to win. Trabzonspor and Saint Etienne in 76-77, Borussia Mönchengladbach a year later, Helsinki in 82-83, and more recently Chelsea in 2006-2007. There have been more epic comebacks, as we've already mentioned, Borussia Dortmund and Barcelona, and anything is possible when it's inside Anfield on a European night. However, Liverpool haven't been playing well of late, and certainly even the most ardent Liverpool supporter would have a little bit of optimism drained away from them after that dispiriting draw against Tottenham at the weekend. Talking of which, Chris Coles is at Spurs.
Tottenham 0, Atletico Madrid 0. Atletico with the ball in the back of the Spurs net. Griezmann played it across goal. Lookman put it in, but he was just offside. Just offside. It was tight. Still Tottenham 0, Atletico Madrid 0. 5-2 to the Spanish on aggregate.
However, here at Anfield, even the Opta supercomputer had this as the most evenly balanced tie for the return legs of the last 16, giving Liverpool only a 58.5% chance of progressing. As Ekitike takes a tumble with Singo, digs the ball out and clears it. Lamina loses out, McAllister's early ball. Here is Virch just outside the D, might have to go it alone, but they're crowded around him. Torreira dispossessed him. His forward ball though stopped by Gravenberch. Liverpool come forward now with Van Dijk. McAllister forward of the centre circle, Frimpong to his right, and then Yilmaz dropping back will stop that ball reaching a red shirt, and the white shirts of Galatasaray can clear. But because of the nature of the game, Paul, and we saw one earlier whilst we were away with Chris, Çakır, the Turkish international goalkeeper, cleared long, and that's the threat they're going to pose on the break.
It was just one long straight ball over the top, and I think Liverpool expected the goalkeeper to hit it first time, which he did. The Liverpool defence was pushed up high. Sarah got in behind him. It was a great first touch, and there was almost an opportunity for Galatasaray, and that's exactly what they'll be looking to do tonight. They have got the attacking players to cause Liverpool a problem, and as we touched on earlier, they're having a really good season. It will be a difficult side for Liverpool to beat tonight.
Victor Osimhen is the player who's down at the moment. Szoboszlai and Van Dijk are getting a little frustrated. They're having a word with the Polish referee. Also noticed as well that Szoboszlai was trying to whip up the supporters in the Sir Kenny Dalglish stand on the far side. He was saying after the weekend game, wasn't he, about it's not nice to see the Liverpool supporters leaving early. But I think the Liverpool supporters, since the game has kicked off, have tried to do their best, but the onus is going to be on the players tonight.
Listen, you can only generate an atmosphere. The supporters will come in the stadium and provide an atmosphere, but if they're not enjoying what they're going to see, they've got every right to voice their opinion, which they do at every single ground in Europe. And I think the Liverpool fans have been slightly frustrated at the pedestrian-like way that the team have played this season, not putting teams away. Like perfect example at the weekend against Tottenham. That game should have been done and dusted by half-time, but they were unable to finish games off. And I think seeing early signs tonight already, Mo Salah's tucking inside, Wirtz is looking to come inside, and quite often when I've watched Liverpool this season, they've been far too narrow. But with Frimpong in the team, it gives them that option of the overlapping fullback. There's a little bit more space in wide areas, so hopefully for them tonight they can use that.
Osimhen hasn't really moved a great deal. I was thinking it was a leg injury, but it's actually an arm injury. They've been spraying his arm. But I'm thinking, get him on his feet and treat him at the side if it's an arm.
Well, the Liverpool players are trying to lift him up. The referee's in between Osimhen and the Liverpool players, saying that he's feigning an injury. The stretcher's up and off the feet down beneath us, but it's clearly not going to be needed because they're all coming together. Osimhen, he's waving his arm about. His arm looks okay.
Yeah. Well, they've provoked such a reaction that I think it's fair to say that that's got him to his feet. As we will go into the Championship, Southampton, Norwich City, Sahel Sahi.
Southampton are leading Norwich by 8-0. They moved down the right-hand side. It was lifted for Finazaz, and he lifted it over the Norwich goalkeeper from 6 yards out. Classy finish. Southampton 1, Norwich 0.
I've got a feeling that ploy from Osimhen has backfired. Listen to the reaction of the crowd.
Hugely backfired. All it's done is stoke the fire of the Liverpool supporters, hasn't it, over on that far side?
He's now off the field of play and he's being treated for the arm injury that should have happened minutes ago. Common sense has prevailed. 0-0, we're back underway, 5 live. Burtz dinks the ball out towards Kirkes near side the left. Kirkes keeps the ball in play, 10 yards inside the Galatasaray half. Back to the Liverpool captain, and Van Dijk left-footed, strokes it, finds Konate right side of the centre circle on the halfway line, looks for a run of Salah, unmarked. Frimpong also darting in off that right touch line. Salah plays it towards the Dutchman. Running now back away from the byline towards Szoboszlai, infield now towards McAllister, and McAllister towards Van Dijk, midway through the Galatasaray half. McAllister able to turn, sees a bit of space, runs into it. This now is with Gravenberch. Frimpong holds his line on that right-hand side, goes back in field. Galatasaray still down to 10. Osimhen still not allowed to come back onto the field of play. Here is Wirtz, left corner of the area. His attempted cross was blocked, and then the ball is played away but intercepted. Here is Ekitike, dispossessed by Sara. Kirkes goes in for a 50-50 with Sholoi. Sholoi, though, is surrounded. Liverpool pressing, winning the ball. Here is Ekitike. Ekitike's low shot, easily saved by Xhaka in goal.
Overplaying again from Liverpool in a really good attacking area. Rotating possession just outside the 18-yard box, but they battle hard, they dig in and they win the ball back in a dangerous area. Ekitike manages to get a shot away from 22, 23 yards. Doesn't catch it as he would want. It was an easy one for the goalkeeper in the end.
So Southampton are 1-0 up against Norwich. We'll also keep you in touch with MK Dons Colchester in League 2. And in the WSL, half-time West Ham Manchester United, Charlotte Richardson.
West Ham 0, Manchester United 0. A hat-trick of chances for United's Elizabeth Tell, and the best a downward header from across, creeping towards the bottom right corner, push wide. West Ham 0, Man United 0.
Thanks, Charlotte. 0-0 here. Well, the time-wasting antics have started early from Galatasaray. Now Boué has gone down, holding his ankle. He's back actually at the club for a second spell. He's on loan from Bayern Munich. If he gets the opportunity, he's a very attack-minded right back, as Sara's diagonal ball is gathered in safely by Alisson in his dark goalkeeping outfit in front of the cop away towards our right. 0-0.
Yeah, they've got that attacking threat, Galatasaray, as we've seen in these early stages. They've got fullbacks that will push on. Defensively, they will sit in a defensive shape when Liverpool have the ball, but actually the wide players get wide very quickly when they rotate possession.
Here is Konate. That's the voice of Paul Robinson, the former England international goalkeeper, who's with us here on 5 Live, as the ball is sliced up in the air by Bardacci. It drops and falls to Sholoi, who holds off Ekitike. Kirkes comes in from the side of him. Liverpool are quick to try and bite into the challenges. Torreira, the former Arsenal player, knocks it up in the air. Downward header by Lemina. Plenty of players in this Galatasaray side who've got experience of the Premier League, as Frimpong has gone into a challenge there. And there's a Galatasaray player who has stayed down on that far side. And the referee has got to stop playing. I think it's a head injury. So it's Lemina. Had spells with Fulham, Southampton and Wolves. I don't think the referee had any other alternative but to stop play on that occasion.
Clattered into him, didn't he, Frimpong? I mean, it's the far side of the field for us, but as we've seen on a number of occasions already in this game, the Galatasaray players have taken every opportunity that they can to go to ground. When he puts his arm across him, Frimpong, I don't think there was any intent, but he was looking to block the player. Galatasaray players surrounding the referee saying, was there an elbow involved? I think it was a straight arm just to aid his jump, if you like.
But such was the nature of the collision. Frimpong actually lost his headband as he fell back to the floor, but he's back on his feet. Is Lamina. You have Torreira, who actually scored here for Arsenal in a 5-5 League Cup tie back in 2019. He's actually scored 2 goals in his career at Anfield. Sanchez is suspended, the former Tottenham player. There is a number, and Yasser Asprilla, who's on the bench, Ilkay Gundogan and Leroy Sané, obviously Manchester City, and Asprilla had a spell at Watford. As here is Szoboszlai, play back underway, and once again they're down to 10, waiting for Lamina to come back on. He gets the signal now from our Polish referee as Van Dijk chips the ball forward. Kerkez on this near side, the left level of the area, still 0-0 on the night. Galatasaray lead 1-0 on aggregate. Here is Wirtz. Infield to Szoboszlai, central position midway through the Galatasaray half, gives it straight towards Torreira. Yilmaz is tucked in. Salah, the Brazilian, dispossessed by Gravenberch, just took it away off his toes. Kerkez, sprightly, wins it. Gravenberch passes the ball out towards Frimpong. Salah wants it early. Frimpong waits and then they go back.
See that, don't we? So often they turn inside and keep possession.
Ekitike makes the run. Boué on the cover. Oh, there was a foul from Ekitike on Boué, and that will be a free kick. It's interesting that Salah and Ekitike, they're the front two, but Salah drifts to the right, Ekitike goes to the left, and it's leaving that gap in the middle, isn't it?
And that's where the space is, but they look to keep the possession, and like we say there, everything is very narrow. Frimpong gives them the outlet on the right-hand side, but again, the point you just made there, it was good possession. Frimpong was wide, and rather than push the ball forward in front of Mo Salah or in front of Ekitike, he chooses to come back and pass it to Konate.
It is Urachan Chakur who clears, and Van Dijk climbs high and heads it away powerfully. Boué flicks it forward. Sarah didn't have much time on the ball there. Here is Lamina. He's closed down Bell in the midfield, and McAllister's forward ball. And Salah again, coming from that starting position where he's got to make a diagonal run into a central area, allowed the goalkeeper to get there first. All in green. Wirtz, his forward ball. Hasn't taken long for the crowd to show their frustration with a few misplaced passes.
Nor Arne Slot either. He's out of his technical area. He's trying to get something onto his team. He wants them to keep possession more. I mean, that's one of the criticisms. He's wanted his defence now higher up the pitch to crunch the pitch, win the ball back. But actually, as you say, what are we? We're just 17 minutes into the game and there's already disgruntlement when passes go astray.
That will be a hangover of the Tottenham game at the weekend, where there was a level of disgruntlement of supporters leaving Anfield. Not been seen here for many a year. Salah quickly helps it on. Frimpong right-hand side, cuts it back. Here is Wirtz. Wirtz into the area. The angle is tight towards the byline. Dinks it back. Ekitike takes it high on the chest. Headed away. Might fall towards Gravenberch. Sliding in was Torreira. And out of play it will go for a Liverpool throw far side the right, 0-0.
Should have headed that Ekitike, surely. I mean, it was brilliant from Wirtz, just inside the 18-yard box. He gets to the byline and he stands it up 6 yards out. It's not the ideal ball for Ekitike. He initially wants it in front of him so he can attack the ball. It was slightly behind him, and he just went strangely with his shoulder on top of his chest, whether he could have maybe got a better purchase with his head.
McAllister floats the ball to Kerkez, controls it left corner of the area, but Boué got the challenge in, picked up by Van Dijk, who with a dismissive wave of his right hand asks players to go on ahead of him. He carries it to about 30 yards from goal. McAllister then is square. Here now is Gravenberch. Gravenberch has Frimpong to his right, gets it then back from Salah. Forward ball to Wirtz, enters the area, inside right channel. Frimpong now to his right. He cuts the ball back, and Torreira, unmarked, just inside his own penalty area, had the awareness to head the ball back towards goal and to be gathered in by Chakur.
Yeah, the two pieces of good play that we've just seen from Liverpool there, funnily enough, have come from wide areas when they've played outside the width of the 18-yard box. First the cross from Wirtz and then the cross from Frimpong.
Liverpool, 19 minutes in, have had the better of possession, but they've only had really an Ekitike low shot to match the possession that they've had so far in the opening stages of this game. And Galatasaray, who remember beat Liverpool also by a 1-0 in Istanbul in the league phase, and leading from that first leg a week ago by that scoreline. Ekitike, McAllister, 30 yards out, central position. Szoboszlai gives it to McAllister. Torreira goes down saying he was fouled. The referee says play on. McAllister continues his run, and Bardacci cuts it out, and it goes out for a throw. Liverpool, though, are not creating a great deal for all their possession.
No, and how many times have we heard that story this season? I mean, that's a story as well off the back of the weekend game against Tottenham. They have a lot of possession in very good areas, but are just not decisive, quick enough and active enough to create the final chance or an opportunity on goal.
So Torreira has stayed down. The physios are on to treat him, the Uruguayan international. Meanwhile, we mentioned earlier about Osimhen being down for a lengthy time with an arm injury. He's holding that right arm. It's already got strapping on it, actually, and he's now wandering across to have a word with Okan Buruk.
It'll be a disappointing blow for Galatasaray if Osimhen is to go off. And we know what an important player he is for them. And actually, I was watching their warm-up, and when they did the possession drills in the box, he looked really lively, he looked sharp, he looked up for it. He's almost running around kicking his own players. I'd be surprised if he comes off, but he does look like he's struggling. Incidentally, he's wearing a mask as well, isn't he, tonight?
Yeah, so Osimhen just having a word as the song of Diogo Jota, always powerful, reverberates around Anfield. And because there are no designated away supporters, that entire Anfield Road end away towards our left, where normally you'd have that little quadrant, that little section for the away supporters, it is all red and white, with the exception of the 100 underneath the Sekeni Dalglish stand over on that far side, hoping to see their team wipe away that deficit from last week as Wirtz has played back underway with a right-footed effort that was always on the rise. It was a little wayward and goes out for a goal kick, and it remains 0-0 on the night.
Does look great, doesn't it, with the red and white all the way around the stadium. I know the away supporters, they've got to come into the stadium somewhere, but at other stadiums we see them put in the corners high up out the way. But you'll never walk alone. It just seemed a little bit more special, didn't it, because the whole wrap-around effect, it was quite a scene.
Well, we could be looking at a record crowd for a European game at Anfield, should it surpass the 60,043 against Karabag earlier in the campaign, which was actually the first 60,000 plus European attendance ever at Anfield. It's 0-0 though, and McAllister's downward header, and Torreira manages to knock it back towards Bardacci, who steps forward out of defence. Salah, the Brazilian, left-hand side, formerly of Norwich. Back towards Torreira. He's forced Yilmaz out wide. It's going to run out of play. In fact, Salah was actually called up for the first time this week by Carlo Ancelotti to the Brazil squad, where they'll face France in Boston and Croatia in Orlando. Later this month for the two friendly internationals. The former Norwich man, 93 appearances and 21 goals in his 2 years at Carrow Road.
What did he say? Ancelotti had a great quote, didn't he? I'm not here to play legends, I'm here to win a World Cup or something, when he was asked about Neymar.
Oh, Neymar's omission, yeah.
His press conference this week was a very interesting listen if you haven't heard it.
Yeah. Brentford's Thiago, though, has also had his maiden call-up too, and thoroughly deserved. 0-0 though here. Boué, the right back for Galatasaray. Sholoi hits it early. Well, Osimhen is running okay, but he's holding that right arm and he's not moving freely as a result. Liverpool go long up towards Ekitike, and he runs back to Ekitike. Kirkes not used on the overlap. Ekitike instead spreads play towards Frimpong. Right corner of the area, Yilmaz, who's doubling up on that left-hand side with Jacobs. Soaking up this possession from Liverpool, defending in numbers in their white shirts. Here is Wirtz to Frimpong, tries to create an opening now. Frimpong now towards Salah, miscontrols it, breaks away from him, and it'll be picked up by the goalkeeper Chakut. 23.5 minutes played, still 0-0.
Without doubt, Liverpool have been the better side. They've had more of the possession, they've had the possession in dangerous territorial areas as well, but they just haven't done anything with it. You don't recall the goalkeeper having to make any type of save. Yes, Liverpool have dominated the ball and have dominated the area, territorial possession, but just without any real end product again.
Wirtz, his forward ball, easily cut out by Jacobs, able to bring it down off the chest. Salah thought he was fouled, the referee says not. Gravenberg, lay off by Szoboszlai. Coming forward now is McAllister. First time shot blocked. Wirtz now picks it up, takes a deflection, and that will loop behind for a corner kick. And Liverpool get a corner far side the right, 0-0.
Yeah, that was a good piece of play by Florian Wirtz, just on the edge of the 18-yard box. First touch into the box, sets it on his left foot. He was heading towards the far bottom left-hand corner. Takes a deflection off Bowie. Gives Liverpool a corner over on that far side.
McAllister runs over. Liverpool are attacking the Anfield Road end, playing from right to left. And it remains goalless on the night. Galatasaray have got every white shirt back inside their own penalty area. It's a zonal marking system from Galatasaray. Outswinging corner, edge of the area. Szoboszlai meets it first time and scores. Liverpool's man of the season with the goal that Anfield craved 25 minutes in. First time to perfection. 1-0.
It's a wonderful, wonderful corner kick. It really is a well-worked set play from Liverpool. Everybody charges into the 6-yard box, but the Galatasaray players, they're surrounding the referee. They feel that Shaloi was interfered with by Konate as the ball came in. Some of the Galatasaray players were blocked because the ball comes across the floor of the 18-yard box. It's an outswinger. All the red shirts charge into the 6-yard box. Szoboszlai arrives late and he caresses it with the inside of his right foot. With an unstoppable shot, but it's Konate at the far post. The referee and the VAR will look to see if he has actually taken Shaloi out the game, which has allowed Szoboszlai the finish. Maybe he has, but I think it's probably too far away. I don't think he would have got there, you know. I think if this is ruled out and looked at, which I think they've done it and checked it very quickly, it would have been harsh. It's a super set play from Liverpool.
Well, Dominic Szoboszlai takes his tally for 12. I remember being in San Siro at the start of the Champions League campaign last season, and Arne Slot was saying that he set Szoboszlai a goal tally. A little push there from Wirtz with Singer, who he reacts a little angrily to, but he's now contributing the goals. What was it? 7 goals in his first season, 8 goals last, and bearing in mind he's played a lot at right back. That's 12 now for the campaign, and it was superbly executed.
He's been Liverpool's best player this season, bar none. He's been excellent. He's been their most versatile and he's been their most reliable. You know what type of performance you're going to get from him week in and week out. The free kicks that we've seen him execute have been absolutely sensational. Some of the goals, I was here for the Manchester City free kick, the movement and the pace that he gets on the ball, and just for that goal there, his arrival into the box was so perfectly timed. A really well-worked set play from Liverpool it was.
Harry Kane scored from the spot. Bayern Munich are leading Atalanta by 1-0, so that's 7-1 on aggregate. Liverpool are leading by 1-0. It's 1-1 on aggregate. And the Liverpool supporters in every area of Anfield are up on their feet and swirling those red and white scarves around their head. Dominic Szoboszlai with a goal that Liverpool wanted. Brings them level in the tie. And this now is going to be a test of Galatasaray, as another player has gone down, and there'll be a stoppage here just to try and disrupt Liverpool's play and try and stop that momentum. It's Singo who's down.
Yeah, they've been trying that from the start, Galatasaray. Singo is clearly okay. I mean, he's got back up and plays underway, but they're taking every opportunity to go to ground and try and stop the play and break up, stopping Liverpool getting any type of rhythm.
Ball headed back. Here is Salah. That was a mistake. Good save by the goalkeeper, and then he gathers it in at the rebound. Liverpool were almost gifted that. That was a mistake at the back. It was a weak back pass. Salah was onto it in a flash and just couldn't dink it over Checker.
It looked like nothing of an occasion. It looked like Galatasaray were in comfortable possession of the ball. And it was Bardashi who chose to head it back to his goalkeeper. One of those instances where you don't see the opposition player in that split second behind your own player. And for a second, Mo Salah was in. Goalkeeper came rushing out and Salah tried to dink it over him. And for the goalkeeper's point of view, put out a good left arm and made a decent save. But actually, Mo Salah in that area, you would expect him to at least, well, you'd expect him to score, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. Here is Kerkez near side the left. Back towards Van Dijk. Liverpool lead 1-0. Van Dijk just goes back to Alisson and just says calm down. They're in control. Torreira bursts forward to try and put pressure on the Liverpool goalkeeper, hoists it out to this near side, and it will go out for a Galatasaray throw. Liverpool aren't happy with that challenge from Boué on Kerkez, as Arne Slot makes his feelings known to the referee, the Polish referee Paweł Raczkowski. Ekitike picks it up for Liverpool over the halfway line. Salah's ahead of him. Frimpong joins the attack. Ekitike wants to go it alone. He was bundled over inside the area. Well, I can't help but feel that the better option was to pass the ball to his right. Yilmaz, meanwhile, will break. And there was no foul on Yilmaz from Konate, who he now complains to the referee.
He's going to have to be careful, the referee. This is getting away from him.
Come a little stretched, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very open, and actually he's letting a lot go, and he's letting far too much go. Both managers down on the touchline, extremely animated in the ear of the fourth official. There's a lot of challenges going unpunished.
What about that break from Ekitike? He had Salah and Frimpong.
Did you see Salah's body language?
Yeah.
He was absolutely raging. There was two opportunities where Ekitike could have played him in. Salah had made a superb run, and in the first instance he was absolutely wide open. Ekitike chose to take it on another 10 yards, and the pass was still on, and then he took it into the 18-yard box, and the opportunity just closed in on him.
So Liverpool are ahead against Galatasaray. Here is Ekitike on the edge of the area, rolls his man well into the box. Ekitike still going, and Galatasaray don't clear. First, oh, he's put it over. That could easily have been a second. It went behind for a corner kick. There's been a goal though at Tottenham. Chris Coles.
It's for Tottenham, just what Spurs needed. They'd lead Atleti 1-0 on the night. Randall Koromwani, a header into the corner. Andy Reid, this place has come alive.
Yeah, the fans are on board now. Tottenham playing quite well, actually. It was a really good goal. Great ball into the box from Tell, and a lovely glancing header from Koromwani. And they've done well in this game so far. They've really gone on the front foot, and they deserve that goal.
1-0 Spurs, 5-3 Atleti on aggregate.
Cheers, Chris. Cheers, Andy. Liverpool have a corner kick far side to right. In it comes now. It goes deep towards the far post. Van Dijk's header off the crossbar. He headed it back goalwards. Not too sure who got the final touch when Van Dijk claimed ever so well. It was McAllister stooping inside the 6-yard area. Off the crossbar, the referee stopped play.
Another super set play from Liverpool, really well worked. That was a more simple corner. In swinger from Salah right to the back post. Van Dijk rises completely unchallenged. Heads it back across the 6-yard line, actually inside the 6-yard box, 2 yards from goal. Can you say that McAllister was actually too close? The ball arrives at him, and he gets under it. He ducks to head the ball instead of just putting his forehead on the ball and heading it straight. McAllister ducks to head it up and over, and he doesn't need to, and he heads it up and onto the underside of the crossbar. Again, should score.
Since the goal that was for Liverpool in the 25th minute, in the next 7 minutes, Liverpool have created 3 opportunities. The mistake by Bardacci that almost let in Salah, Wirtz who blazed it over with the aid of a deflection from Lamina, and then McAllister's just hit the crossbar.
And that's an awful challenge by Sarah there on Konate. Goalkeeper goes long, Sarah just jumps into Konate. I think the referee on the changeover has forgotten to take the yellow cards out with him, because that was a blatant yellow card.
Ball goes long, headed away by Singo, back towards Wirtz, holds on to the ball, pulls it back towards Szoboszlai. What a strike that was, and what a save. Xhaka at full stretch, away to his left, but he struck that oh so sweetly, Szoboszlai.
It's just a pleasure to watch him strike a football, it really is. That wasn't an easy technique. He's 25 yards out from goal. The ball's rolling across his body, he lets it come onto his right foot, and he almost hits the knuckleball on a moving ball. It's a brilliant strike, a brilliant connection. It's drifting away from the goalkeeper. Ends up being a comfortable save, but it's tested him from a distance. Really good strike from Szoboszlai.
That's why he has to play in his best position. Here is Kerkez. Kerkez now running forward, wants the return ball from Ekitike. Ekitike holds on to it. And there is activity on the Galatasaray bench. So whether Osimhen is unable to continue, he continues to hold that right forearm of his. Here is Gravenberch. Liverpool are leading by a goal to nil. It means it's 1-1 on aggregate. Spurs are ahead on the night 1-0, but Atletico Madrid lead 5-3 overall. Ekitike can't keep the ball in play in the Championship. Half-time at St Mary's, Sahel Sahi.
Southampton 1, Norwich 0. Southampton's second best, but lead through a Finazaz goal. His desire to be first to the ball from a throw-in proved decisive. You feel there's still more to come from both teams. Half-time, Southampton 1, Norwich 0.
Thank you, Sahel. Galatasaray's change is, I would imagine, for Osimhen. It is the number 77, that is Noah Lang, who I've got to say, I was surprised he didn't necessarily start. He's on loan from Napoli, the Dutch international, left-sided winger. But we'll see him. Can only imagine it will be Osimhen, because he can hardly move that right arm of his. Yilmaz, meanwhile, runs forward. And Jacobs getting forward. And they get a corner kick to Galatasaray 10 minutes before half-time.
He's a passenger, is Osimhen, at the moment. He's playing within the width of the goal, just running up and down the pitch, keeps looking over to the bench, awaiting a substitution. You can see he's not comfortable, the arm's heavily strapped, and he's not been right, and he's deteriorated ever since the injury.
Corner kick then for Galatasaray. Still the jeopardy remains though in this game, because a Galatasaray goal and the complexion of the tie changes once again. But Liverpool have levelled it on aggregate at the moment, 1 apiece. It's going to be a corner on that far side, the left in front of the Kop. This should be an outswinger. Bardacci is forward from the back. In it comes now. Doesn't beat the first man, headed away by Kirkes. We're live on 5 Live, the BBC Sounds app, as well as Radio Merseyside tonight, as Yilmaz, under real pressure on the halfway line, has to go back to his goalkeeper, who now will clear away towards our left. Xhaka, and it's headed back by Van Dijk towards the halfway line. Boué clattered into by Wirtz. Don't think there was any attempt to play the ball by Wirtz, and the Galatasaray right back has stayed down, and that will be the free kick for Galatasaray. And yet they still haven't made the change.
No, he's put his training top back on, Dolang. He was stripped and ready to come on, stood almost at the side of the pitch at the edge of the technical area. He's now turned around, put his tracksuit top and bib back on, and disappeared to our left to keep dancing over the cones.
And here is Osimhen, brings it down off his thigh with his back to goal, back to Yilmaz. Off balance, couldn't control the ball, bringing the ball out of defence is Szoboszlai, hits it early, cut out by Bardacci to stop it from reaching Salah. His ball down that left-hand side. Yilmaz tries to roll away from Frimpong. Osimhen was walking back from an offside position, can't make any attempt to play the ball, allows Konate to give it to Van Dijk, and he sweeps it downfield. And now left-hand side of the penalty area is Ekitike, and closing him down was Boué. And that will be a throw right down by the corner flag as Liverpool lead by a 1-0 on the night. 5 Live.
Yeah, we've got to turn this dominance into goals now, Liverpool. As like Mark said before the game, you don't need to go into the latter stages of this game with it finally balanced, needing a goal or needing to keep the clean sheet to actually qualify. They're dominating this game. They're by far the better team. Go and exert your dominance on the score sheet.
There was a predictable nature about the outcome to the game against Tottenham at the weekend, after the chances that Liverpool had missed in the first half and then were unable to put the game to bed. They certainly won't want a repeat against Galatasaray here tonight, as Salah can't get onto the end of that forward ball as it kicks off the surface and races away from him into the Anfield Road end and out for a goal kick. And we've got 8 minutes to go to half-time. Tomorrow night, more European action live on 5 Live. Aston Villa against Lille in the Europa League. Saturday's 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman from 12. Fulham Burnley is actually the only Saturday 3 o'clock game. So decision-making was quite easy this Saturday afternoon. It'll be followed by Everton Chelsea at 5:30, but we'll have scores and the usual goal service from around the grounds. And on Sunday, Tottenham Nottingham Forest at 2:15, and then Arsenal Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final from Wembley at 4:30 on Sunday. So a lot of live football to look forward to on BBC Radio 5 Live. Liverpool still 1-0, Paul.
Yeah, what a cracking weekend to look forward to, and I think that's going to be what we're saying between now and the end of the season, isn't it? There's so much jeopardy still left in this Premier League season, so many questions still to be answered.
Alisson chips the ball away downfield. Singo brushes off his hair, gets the aerial challenge before Ekitike, but mopping up was Boué behind him. Sholoi then infield, he was caught late. And the referee's going to give that free kick, as we'll get an update from Chris Coles at Tottenham.
Tottenham 1, Atletico Madrid 0. Spurs so close to a second, which would take them within 1. Matis Tel, who's having a good game, clean through, left-hand side. His shot was well saved by Musso in the Atleti goal. Spurs are on top. They lead 1-0 on the night, 5-3 Atleti on aggregate.
And they're looking to try and do what Deportivo de La Coruña did against Milan. Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Roma, Barcelona, Liverpool, Barcelona, and more recently the other night, in fact last night, Sporting against Bodo Glimt, where teams have overturned a 3-goal deficit in a Champions League knockout tie. Here is Sara on the edge of the area for Galatasaray. The ball is back towards Torreira, to Yilmaz. Yilmaz now comes forward. Yilmaz on the left-hand side. Yilmaz sends over the cross. Osimhen heads it off target. Goal kick Liverpool 1-0.
And all those teams that you just reeled off, did you know that Deportivo La Coruña were the only ones to do it to the reigning champions? That's what task Chelsea were faced with last night, and the only team to have ever done it were Deportivo against AC Milan.
Yeah, and in fact, I remember La Riazor Stadium when you with Leeds United reached the semi-finals. You won 3-0 at Ellen Road in the first leg, and Deportivo La Coruña really should have done it that night as well.
Yeah, they were in a very different place to what they are now. Deportivo La Coruña, Leeds United and Deportivo, two teams that have seen the lower reaches of their own country's divisions between now and that time, haven't they?
Yeah, here is Frimpong, and somehow Leeds managed to escape with just a 2-0 defeat and edge their way through. That was a quarter-final from memory, wasn't it? Yeah, nod of the head from Paul Robinson. Memory is still serving me well, as Liverpool are attacking on the right-hand side, and then it breaks down, and Lamina and Bardacci are able to give it to Jacobs, who will clear it away. And in fact, we'll go to Paul Gilmore at MK Dons in League Two.
MK Dons with the deserved breakthrough. Aaron Collins, the former Colchester loanee, scores from close range. 39 minutes played, MK Dons 1, Colchester 0.
Liverpool attacking through Salah right-hand side, and Bardacci has to show his strength and then nudges the ball behind for a corner kick. Liverpool still have a slender lead on the night, but they're looking for the decisive second goal. They've got a corner right-hand side.
It shows their dominance. I'm looking at the goalkeeper, Alisson, and I'm not sure that he's actually touched the ball with his gloves other than to retrieve it for a goal kick. I think he's been very underemployed, which is obviously what Liverpool want, but the possession has been good for Liverpool without any real end product other than the goal. They're by far the better team.
And they lead deservedly by 1-0. They have a corner. They scored from a corner last time. This time it comes direct in towards the far post. Van Dijk again will head it back goalwards. It drops. It's spilt by the goalkeeper. The referee's blown his whistle. They're saying he was unfairly challenged. What did you make of that as a former keeper?
McAllister put himself exactly where the goalkeeper wanted to land, which is very, very difficult for a goalkeeper. Sometimes you don't have to make that much contact, but when a goalkeeper goes up in the air, you stand where the goalkeeper wants to land and you give him a nudge on the way, knocks him off balance, and it always looks worse than it is. McAllister just bends down right as the goalkeeper goes up. It's a difficult one for the goalkeeper to take. It was a foul on him.
Çakır, the Turkish number one, who they signed in the summer on a 5-year deal from Trabzonspor, and actually kept 3 successive clean sheets before tonight. However, they've struggled to keep clean sheets in Europe. They've only kept 3 in their last 33 European games, and 2 of those were against Liverpool, both of course in the games in Istanbul. Liverpool are the ones who are leading 1-0 here at Anfield. 5 Live and Radio Merseyside as Szoboszlai, the goal scorer, plays it out long towards Kerkez. Şolay will challenge him, and it will go for a Liverpool throw. And we've got 2.5 minutes to go to half-time here. And Kerkez, who in front of this main stand, waits to take it. Ekitike makes himself available, just creates that little bit of space, able to knock it back to Konate, outside the centre circle, his forward ball, back towards Konate inside the Galatasaray half, at a walking pace. And Konate waits for some movement. It comes in the shape of Frimpong, but he passes the ball towards Salah, dink back towards Salah, cut out. Lamina back-pedalling, hooks it only as far as Ekitike, edge of the area, holds onto the ball, turns 25 yards out from goal, and then knocks the ball to the centre circle along the ground towards Van Dijk. Passes it forward towards Szoboszlai. Ekitike with the ball at his feet, edge of the area, puts his right foot on the ball. Szoboszlai strokes it. This is McAllister now coming forward. Wirtz has drifted to the left corner of the area. It's his cross over the head of Ekitike. Tucked in was Jacobs to head it away. Lamina just inside his penalty area, heads it further clear. But that loose ball will run towards Wirtz. Liverpool stroked inside now by Wirtz to Szoboszlai. 90 seconds remain in this first half. Liverpool lead by 1-0. Kerkez, 6 yards inside the Galatasaray half, comes to a standstill. Everybody bar Osimhen has behind the ball as Wirtz being pulled back by Boe. Now towards Szoboszlai, forced a fraction further back than he maybe wanted. To Frimpong right-hand side, Yilmaz dispossesses him and Yilmaz can run forward. But we've seen nothing from Galatasaray in an attacking entity.
Liverpool are in full control of this game, full control, and it's now they're in a position that they've got themselves back into. We're all level, and they now need to be patient. They need to move the ball quick when they get into the final third, but they don't need to take any risks now by opening up and putting players forward and leaving themselves exposed. They're in complete control.
Kerkez sweeps over the cross. Frimpong has to bring that ball under control as he just rode up in front of him. Comes out towards Szoboszlai. Fires it back in. Cleared away by Singo. Drops towards Frimpong, right-hand side of the area. On the half volley, bounces off the leg of Salah. And out of play it goes for a goal kick. 61% in terms of possession for Liverpool. They've had 10 shots, 5 have been on target, but they only have the 1 goal to show for it. Tottenham Atletico Madrid, Chris Coles.
Atletico Madrid pressure. They've had 2 good chances. Julian Alvarez from range just over the top, and a couple of moments ago Simeone's shot deflected. Big deflection off Romero. Vicario makes an excellent save to keep the score at Tottenham 1, Atleti 0, and 5-3 Atletico on aggregate.
And we are going to have 5 minutes of added time here at Anfield of this first half, where Liverpool are leading 1-0. Remember, beIN, it was a formality, that one anyway, wasn't it, against Atalanta, leading 6-1 from the first leg. Harry Kane, though, giving them a 7-1 aggregate lead, and they will be away to Real Madrid in the first leg of the quarter-finals.
You've seen them live this year, don't know, Bayern Munich?
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Good enough?
I'd like to see them against... Yeah, actually, I would say that, yeah.
They look strong. Real Madrid certainly looked strong the other night.
Yeah, and we've seen the strength of Barcelona tonight, beating Newcastle United 7-2 to go through 8-3 on aggregate. Xhaka clears, and it will run straight out of play. Well, the Galatasaray game plan I don't think has changed, has it?
They've offered very, very little going forward. Like we say, Alisson's been extremely underemployed, other than when his Liverpool defenders have chose to use him in the build-up play. They've put the ball long. They've had 1 or 2 opportunities where they might have got in behind, but that's soon been closed out, but from the Liverpool defenders.
That's the views of Paul Robinson, who's with us here on 5 Live Sport tonight. Arne Slot applauding. Liverpool, though, still have work to do. The tie still very much in the balance, despite Liverpool leading 1-0. And only until Liverpool get a 2-goal cushion would, I think, anybody inside Anfield feel relatively secure about progression in this competition. It is so important to them. 6 times winners of Europe's elite competition. Frimpong is sent scampering away on that right-hand side. Coming forward now, level the area. Yilmaz has done well on that defensive duty. That looked like a dive by Szoboszlai. If he was caught by Jacobs, he certainly threw himself forward, but the referee's given the penalty. To the naked eye, that just looked like an exaggerated dive from Szoboszlai. The way that he just threw himself forward in the air, he was propelled, and Jacobs is going to complain. VAR will naturally have a check, but a penalty for Liverpool has been awarded.
Well, he's taken a tumble, Dominic Szoboszlai, inside the penalty box, and he's nearly landed on the advertising hoardings on the far side stand. He kicks out Jacobs, he looks to pass the ball, he plays the ball away. We're just getting to see the replay now. Szoboszlai goes fully committed, gets there first.
No.
Can't tell whether there was any contact there or not. He looks like he might have pulled his foot away just in time, Jacobs. Szoboszlai's going over to Jacobs, putting his hands in the air. He's actually got his sock rolled down, he's got a slight cut on his leg. VAR going to take a quick look at this, but I think, listen, if there's contact, it's not going to be overturned. I mean, It was a massively over-exaggerated dive. He put both of his feet together, and he must have dived 5 or 6 yards. There was contact there, but he certainly let the referee know there was contact there by the way he went to ground.
You're right, you've summed it up perfectly. There was contact, but it was an exaggerated, as he propelled himself forward, but he's won the penalty, and I think that's the key word. Szoboszlai has won the penalty. It has been awarded. After VAR, they've had a check, and Mo Salah with the opportunity to give Liverpool the lead in the tie. They're already 1-0 up on the night. And Mo Salah, whose record from the spot is normally exemplary. He waits, it's a straight run-up, then he moves to his right, runs up forward now, left-footed, oh, it's saved! It's saved, he tried to dink it. Not quite the Panenka. It was like a A left-footed flat ball, and it was saved by the legs of Xhaka as it's gone straight down through the middle.
We've seen him take that penalty a number of times. He's just gone to try and lift it down the middle. It's half a Panenka, isn't it? It's just, he waits for the goalkeeper to go, and then he takes the pace and power, and he just tries to do that side foot into the middle of the goal. But he gets the execution of it wrong. He puts a little bit too much curl on it, and the goalkeeper saves it with his right leg, trailing right leg. It's a poor penalty, and he knows it.
He'd previously scored 55 out of 66 spot kicks in his career. It is a rare miss, and Mo Salah had an opportunity there for his 50th goal in the Champions League that was spurned, and Xhaka made the save with his legs.
And do you know what, Ian? The goalkeeper went so early as well. If Salah had just looked up, he could have rolled it into the opposite corner. Real opportunity there, gone for Liverpool.
Scored from the spot against Brighton and Burnley, not on this occasion. Now Yilmaz can run forward in stoppage time. Liverpool then still only lead by a goal to nil. Galatasaray edge of the area, a rare foray into the Liverpool half. Sholoi squeezes the ball out towards Jacobs. Sholoi with a header, and it was easily saved by Alisson, just dropping down to his left.
Well, if they needed a warning, Liverpool, there it is. Good ball in from the left-hand side. The fullback Jacobs pushing on. And for me, he's been the best player. Sholoi in a Galatasaray shirt. Gets across the front, glances a header down to Alisson's left. It's a very comfortable save for the Liverpool goalkeeper.
Here is Wirtz. Wirtz still going. Wirtz tees up Salah. Teller! Saved. Wirtz on the rebound. Saved again. Here is Szoboszlai, heads it forward. That second goal will just not come for Liverpool as Gravenberch fires this one in, slips, and then Jacobs will go back towards the goalkeeper, and there is the half-time whistle. Liverpool lead Galatasaray 1-0. Paul Robinson.
How many chances do they want to put this game to bed in a similar pattern to the Tottenham game at the weekend? They've played better than the game at the weekend, without a shadow of a doubt. They've dominated this game, they've been the better team, but just haven't been clinical again in the final third. Mo Salah with a penalty, with that effort on goal there. The goalkeeper makes a really good first save, but his second one from Wirtz is even better. A double block from the goalkeeper. They've had the possession, they've had the territorial advantage, but they've still only got one next to the name.
Szoboszlai with his excellent execution from a corner kick after the 25th minute with the only goal, but Liverpool have had numerous other chances. They haven't taken them, and therefore this tie certainly has a great deal of jeopardy as we look forward to the second half. But at the break, it's Liverpool 1, Galatasaray 0.
Just give me a... it's easy, Paul, to focus on Mo Salah with the penalty, but give me an appreciation of what the goalkeeper did, who had actually gone to his left, but then used his legs to save it.
Yeah, he'd gone to his left, he'd gone full length to his left, but actually Mo Salah he paused just before he struck the penalty, so you could see that he was going to try and take the power off the ball. So the goalkeeper in mid-air was able to adjust his body and kick out with his right foot that he'd left behind him. And it was a decent save from the goalkeeper, but actually when you re-watch it, the penalty had no power whatsoever. That was the idea, that was the technique. He just wanted to lift it into the middle of the goal when the goalkeeper had gone. But if it had been a yard to the left of the goalkeeper, he wouldn't have saved it. He was long gone. But actually where Mo Salah put it, he was able to save it because it curled into him.
Andros Townsend with us as well this evening. Liverpool's approach to the chances they are creating almost seems, Andros, as if they're going, oh well, another one will come in a minute. They seem very relaxed when it comes to taking their chances.
Yeah, I think that's because the way they've kept the ball so well, that they've taken away the counter-attacking threat from Galatasaray. We spoke before the game about the threat Galatasaray do have going forward with the world-class players they have in the front line, but Liverpool have been so good with the ball that when they have turned it over, Galatasaray haven't really had the energy to really get any attacking play going through Osimhen and the wide player. So it's been a really, really comfortable performance from Liverpool so far. I think if Salah puts away the penalties, a perfect first half, but I think they'll go into half-time definitely the happier the two sides.
Now, I tell you what has been a really enjoyable first half. I don't know if you're listening to us and have got a screen on as well, or whether you are able to watch Spurs Atletico Madrid whilst the Liverpool game is on. But Chris Coles, this has been so enjoyable.
It's been a terrific game, hasn't it? And Spurs are in this tie. There's no question about it. They're playing really well. The deficit is still 2, but they've created enough chances to worry Atletico, and the Spurs fans are enjoying what they are witnessing. The goal from Randall Kolo Muani, excellent ball in from the right. Kolo Muani was on his own inside the box, unmarked, headed into the corner. And then a couple of big chances for Spurs. Tell with the best of them. He missed a glorious opportunity to get Spurs within 1. He was through on an angle, but the shot lacked conviction and easily saved by Musso. He really shouldn't have been given a chance. Atleti's best moments came at the end of the half. Alvarez from range, just over the top, and Vicario making a brilliant save to deny a deflected Simeone shot. Loud cheers greeted the half-time whistle, Andy Reid. The Spurs fans enthused by what they've seen. It's been impressive.
Yeah, it has. It's been a good performance. I think they surprised us all a little bit with the formation. We were expecting them to play a back 5, but Dragason's playing at right back and Pedro Porro is playing a little bit higher, and it's actually worked quite well. And they pressed in a 4-4-2, turned the ball over quite a bit, and when they have turned the ball and won it back, Simmons has got on the ball and he's kind of made them tick in there. He's found plenty of space in and around the 10, and he's probably been in a game more than I've seen him being in a game for quite a while. So it's been an enjoyable performance from Tottenham. On the flip side of that, I've been pretty disappointed with Atletico Madrid. They came here, I know they've got a 3-goal, they had a 3-goal lead, but they just looked like they were just kind of comfortable to sit in and not really do anything. And once that goal went in, it kind of shocked them into life a little bit, and they started to come out and play a little bit more, and they have got some quality, particularly in the top end of the pitch.
But if Spurs can get the next goal mark and get within 1, this could get very interesting. Spurs 1, Atletico Madrid 0, and that's 5-3 Atletico on aggregate.
Come on, Andy, don't be so grumpy going on about Atletico Madrid. Just enjoy what Spurs are doing.
Yeah, no, I am. Honestly, no, I am. I'm enjoying the Tottenham performance. There's been some really good play in there, and to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting it. I don't think these fans here were expecting it either, but once that goal went in, they came to life, and I'll tell you what, they definitely are in the game. If they can get another one early in the second half, there'll be a few nerves from the Atletico team.
And Andros, they really, as Chris says, they really ought to have had a second. If Tell had scored that, it would have been the icing on a fantastic move.
Yeah, and he's been probably the brightest spark for Spurs down the left-hand side. He created the assist on the right-hand side for Kolo Muani, but he is really their threat down the left-hand side. And I think, like what Reedy said, Atletico came with a really, really low back line, and it was difficult for Spurs, even though they were creating chances, even though they had the possession, it was difficult for them to create any real clear-cut chances. But after that first goal, Atleti have come alive. They're having more possession, they're getting higher up the pitch, and I think in the second half that could suit Spurs with Kolo Muani and Matthijs Tel down the left-hand side. They can create a bit more than they were in the first half, so it's very finely poised for the second half.
Really is. Thank you, Chris and Andy and Andros for the moment. beIN lead Atalanta 1-0 on the night, 7-1 on aggregate. In the other Champions League last 16 tie, earlier Barcelona beat Newcastle 7-2 this evening, 8-3 on aggregate. We will hear from Eddie Howe before we go back for the second half at Anfield. One game in the Championship this evening, Southampton, Norwich, Sahel Sahi.
We've played 8 minutes in the second half here, Mark. It's still Southampton 1. Norwich 0. Finazaz's goal in the first half after 24 minutes separated the two sides. Better start to the second half from Norwich, but Southampton went close through a counter-attack from Kyle Larin, and he hit the side net in Norwich. They're winless in their last 8 league visits to Southampton, and they're trailing here at St Mary's by 1-0.
MK Dons looking to close the gap on leaders Bromley in League 2. Paul Gilmore's watching them.
They are doing just that, Mark. Half-time, MK Dons 1, Colchester 0. The side separated by an unfortunate own goal from Colchester keeper Matt Macy after Aaron Collins' effort came back off the post on 39 minutes. It was a deserved lead. Gilby, Collins and Mellish have all gone close for the home team, and Tavide had the visitors' best effort, but it was superbly blocked by Offord. MK Dons looking comfortable, as you said, in those automatic promotion places. They lead 1-0 at half-time.
The WSL, Chelsea have beaten Brighton by 2-1. Charlotte Richardson is watching West Ham, Manchester United.
West Ham 0, Manchester United 0. Substitute Melvin Mallard has added impetus and energy into United's front line. A goal line clearance denying the visitors. Vivian Osai's tame header in the 6-yard box, the closest the Hammers have come. West Ham 0, Manchester United 0.
Just shy of 9 o'clock, you're listening to 5 Live. Bethan Holmes has the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
An urgent public health alert's been issued by the UK Health Security Agency following the meningitis B outbreak in Kent. It means doctors are being told to look out for people with symptoms so any more cases can be identified and treated. 20 cases of meningitis linked to a nightclub in Canterbury have been confirmed. 2 people have died. The University of Kent has today given out 600 vaccines to students living on campus. Our health editor Hugh Pym has been speaking to the head of the UK HSA, Susan Hopkins.
You have students going back into halls of residence every term, every year, and there must be the odd case. Why is this different?
We don't know that yet. We'll continue to look at it. We'll continue to study the bacteria. We'll continue to study the outbreak. And I would hope that over coming days and weeks, we'll be able to answer that question more fully. But it's the uncertainty that has led us to taking the extraordinary actions that we have.
Oil prices have risen following an attack on the world's largest gas field in Iran, reportedly by Israel. The site is shared with Qatar. Tehran said it would take decisive action against other nations' energy facilities. Attacks have been reported in Saudi Arabia and Qatar, which said its national security was at stake. Our deputy economics editor is Darshini David.
America has shied away from hitting Iran's energy infrastructure. Israel has done so, and it's affected Qatar's ability to produce. That really matters because Qatar is a big producer of gas. The UK is one of its customers. But having said that, we only get about 1% of our gas from Qatar, so this doesn't raise the risk of taps here running dry by any means.
In other news this evening, 3 people have been charged with murder after a man's body was discovered in a wheelie bin. Thomas Niven, who was 37, was found dead in Coventry on Friday. Tammy and Cameron Sturdy and Shane Turkington will appear in court tomorrow. Tube strikes have been called off next week. That's after progress in talks about working hours for RMT members. And the UK has recorded its warmest day of the year so far. It reached 20.9 degrees near Aberystwyth.
Hello, I'm Angela Scanlon, and I want to tell you about a brand new podcast, The Apprentice Unfinished Business.
You're fired.
Each week, straight after Lord Sugar's famous pointy finger has done its thing, I'll be joined by the fired candidates, and there'll be special guests along for the ride.
You have somebody with a maths degree who cannot do 8 times 1.5.
We put 50p in each. It rounds up to 20 quid. No, a tenner? This is why I'll be bad on The Apprentice. Is that a tenner?
The Apprentice Unfinished Business. Watch on iPlayer, listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports, the Champions League with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Let's get some reaction then to Newcastle's heavy defeat in Camp Nou this evening. Barcelona won 7-2 on the night, 8-3 on aggregate. Here's Eddie Howe.
I think our performance dropped. I think that was quite clear. You can't concede that the first 4 goals, you can't concede. The 2 set plays are sort of unforgivable to a degree because you know how good they are in other aspects of their play. And as I said, I think psychologically we never recovered from the moment at half-time for whatever reason that was. Whether we felt that we should have had a penalty the other end, I don't know. But there was certainly a dip in our performance. The players gave so much to that opening sort of 55, 60 minutes. It's the toughest period we had in the game. The last sort of that middle period between 60 minutes and 80 minutes was really difficult for us. I have to compliment their technical delivery. Their midfield players I thought were excellent today, and of course their attackers, when given chances, were ruthless as well. So I thought we gave them a really good game for the whole 90 minutes at St James's Park and then for a half today.
He says a half there, Andros Townsend, doesn't he? But actually the other thing he said was it was maybe 55 minutes and then all the effort that they put in caught up with them. I'm assuming he means mentally as well as physically.
Yeah, I think it was, and it's probably a tale of the 2 penalties. One at the end of the first leg where Newcastle looked like they were going to take a lead to Barcelona, and then obviously the one just before half-time here really did seem to take it out of them because they didn't come out the second half with the same sort of energy, and it was a crazy 15-20 minutes from Barcelona, which really made the tie look a lot more damaging than it actually was over the 2 legs.
Strange, because I very nearly asked Chris Sutton and John Murray at half-time that I nearly went, well, whatever happens now, Newcastle could actually take some positives out of that, particularly, say, someone like Anthony Elanga, who's had a bit of a difficult start to his Newcastle career, but he's scored 2 tonight. He's been instrumental in what they've done. But then, if you concede 7, it's difficult to take anything out of it, isn't it? It didn't feel like 7-2, but that's what's in the record books.
Yeah, and this is the top level of European football. This is what Newcastle have aspired to get to over the last 5 or 10 years, and they're here now. And it just shows that you can't have a 10, 15 minutes where you switch off, or you lose your intensity, or you stop closing down the ball, because you get punished by the best. And once the dust settles, they'll obviously reflect, and they'll learn from it, and they'll realise how far they have come this season, and how far they have to go to take the next step again.
Okay, Andros back with us at full time, when we'll react more to what happens to Newcastle, but also to what's going on in the other 2 games this evening involving the English clubs. So Tottenham lead Atletico Madrid by a goal to 0, and they have had other chances. So we'll keep an eye on that during the second half from Anfield. Liverpool just the goal to the good, all square on aggregates. Ian Dennis and Paul Robinson.
Thank you, Mark. And there's going to be a double change here for Galatasaray. No surprise that Victor Osimhen hasn't reappeared because of that arm injury that he was carrying in the first half. So Noah Lang has come on, and also Leroy Sané has come on. He was signed on a free from beIN in the summer, formerly of Manchester City, of course, and he has replaced Sacha Boey. So that is the change. Now, I think now Sholoi will probably go in at right back, and that means that Sané then will play alongside Noah Lang through the middle and Yilmaz. But they're the 2 changes that have been made. Sholoi, the Hungarian international, does offer that flexibility and that versatility. So Liverpool have Alisson in goal, Frimpong, Van Dijk, Konate, Kerkez, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, McAllister, Salah, Wirtz and Ekitike. Liverpool playing in all red. They're attacking the Kop in this second half, so they'll be playing from left to right. Our Polish referee is Paweł Raczkowski, who blows the whistle. We are underway, and there's been an early goal in the second half at Tottenham. Chris Coles.
Oh, and it's not gone the way Tottenham craved. Atletico a level on the night, and they restore their 3-goal aggregate lead. Julian Alvarez has scored it, blistering counter-attack, Lookman across goal. Alvarez, it's a great finish into the top corner, Andy Reid. That's a real sickener for Spurs.
Yeah, it is. They brought all the defenders forward for a long throw of Tottenham. Hasn't quite worked out for them. They didn't win the second balls, and it's broke. And it's a blistering attack, like you said, really incisive. And Alvarez gets the ball just outside the penalty spot, turns, and he puts it right into the top corner. And the energy in the place is just drained out of it. Really disappointing from a Tottenham point of view, but a brilliant counter-attack.
They are checking for a potential foul. We'll keep you updated with that. But for now, 1-1, and that's 6-3 Atletico on aggregate.
So Liverpool lead here by a goal to 0 on the night, 1-1 on aggregate. I've given you the Liverpool side. Galatasaray, who are defending the Kop, playing from right to left, have Xhaka in goal. Now a back 4 of Sholoi at right back, Singo, Bardacci and Jacobs. Then you've got Lamina, Torreira and Sarra in the midfield, with Sané, Lang and Yilmaz. So let's see if they can provide more of a threat on the counter-attack. Galatasaray, as Yilmaz now looks for the ball in the middle, and Sané was there, and it required Virgil van Dijk to sweep the ball away. And on the evidence of that, Paul Robinson, the answer is going to be yes.
It's going to be interesting to see how the front 3 interact, because there's no real out-and-out striker now for Galatasaray. You look at them now, they've all dropped deep, so they're going to pack the midfield. It's going to be Sarra and Yilmaz will be the 2 that are allowed to roam forward, with Noah Lang on this left-hand side. But immediately they got possession, they went to a front 3. When actually out of possession, Noah Lang dropped in this left-hand side and made a back 5. So it's going to be a very fluid formation from Galatasaray in the second half.
Virgil van Dijk sprays the ball forward. Frimpong on this near side, the right, looks for Salah, takes a touch off Jacobs, the Senegal international. Penny for his thoughts over the last 24 hours, with Morocco being awarded the African Cup of Nations. Here is Yilmaz with his dyed hair, looking for the run of Lang. It's a rather awkward looking run by Lang. A little bit off balance, off kilter, as he keeps the ball in play on this near side. It's almost as if one leg was shorter than the other, wasn't it, the way he was running?
With what's happened to Senegal and Morocco, do you think we've missed the boat with 86? I think it's a bit too late.
Yeah, well, it's never too late. Liverpool attacking now. Ekitike in the area, saved by the goalkeeper as a good strong right wrist that kept the ball at his near post, and then he was able to gather the ball in at the second time.
He's looked lively tonight, Ekitike, when he's got in the 18-yard box. His first thought, his goal is direct. He tries and muscles his way out of situations.
Ekitike, misplaced pass, allows Torreira to play it towards Salah. Tight passing then with Galatasaray in the midfield, and then Torreira back towards Bardacci. If it stays like this, it'll suit Galatasaray, and just like in their previous tie against Juventus, we would have extra time.
They've been there before, haven't they? They know how to do it. We saw in the first half the game management that they had. The longer it goes, the better it will be for them, the more it will suit them, and the more threat they'll pose on the counter-attack, longer balls, set plays. For Liverpool, it's about exerting that dominance that they had in the first half. Two very different team talks in those dressing rooms at half-time.
The Liverpool supporters raise the volume inside Anfield. Yilmaz turns, Konate leans into him, then he was pulled back by Yilmaz. That'll be a free kick from our referee, Pavel Gratzkowski. BBC Radio 5 Live. We're also having Radio Merseyside take our commentary here tonight at Anfield, which is an extremely mild evening. I mean, it's been a gorgeous day in the northwest. Temperature hasn't dropped us as much as I necessarily thought with that lack of cloud cover. And Liverpool, you always get a special feel walking to Anfield on a European night when it felt like spring was in the air this evening, as here is Ekitike, through ball, Salah onto it, saved by the goalkeeper. Quickly off his goal line with a smothering save. 1-0 Liverpool still.
Super piece of goalkeeping, really was. He's been sharp off his line, Turkey number one. You can see why they paid 27 million for him. He's been impressive tonight, made 1 or 2 in the first half. That was a great through ball from Ekitike, a perfectly well-timed run from Mo Salah. And just as Mo Salah looks up on the angle of the 6-yard box, the goalkeeper's on top of him. Really good block.
Torreira tidies up in the midfield with a back pass towards Xhaka, goes out towards Schuller on that far side. Sane running back, not in full control of the ball, but he's managed to hang on to it and somehow run away from Kerkez as we go to Tottenham, and another goal. Chris Coles.
What a response from Spurs. They're back in front on the night and back within 2 with Atletico. Xavi Simon's brilliant finish from the edge of the box into the corner. Andy Reid, what a game this is.
Yeah, excellent game, and that was a really, really good goal. Archie Gray does brilliant. He nips in midfield, wins the ball, slips it through to Simmons, who opens his body up and whips it into that far post. It's an excellent finish, and the crowd have come alive again. Really good, really high quality game here.
2-1 Spurs, now 6-4 Atletico on aggregate.
Tell you what, there's been some goals scored, hasn't there, in this last 16 in the Champions League?
Been some very open games, haven't there? When you look at the aggregate final scores of all the games, there's been a load.
That was 6-4. Bayern are currently leading Atalanta 7-1. An early ball from McAllister to Salah. Salah looks for Ekitike on a plate and taken. Perfectly weighted by Salah. And there was Hugo Ekitike. He could not miss. And Liverpool turn their dominance and now a lead in the tie. 2-0 on the night, 2-1 on aggregate.
And the belief bleeds back into Anfield. And it's that man, Mo Salah, on the right-hand side of the 18-yard box. He plays a sumptuous ball across the 6-yard line. Hugo Ekitike, he must be thinking, thank you very much, before the ball's even arrived at his foot. He misses the goalkeeper out as the ball's diverting away from him. Ekitike arrives just at the right time, inside of his right foot, edge of the 6-yard box, gives Liverpool a 2-0 lead and sends Anfield into raptures. Super assist from Mo Salah.
Only 1 goal in 8 before tonight, but he was never ever going to squander such an opportunity. Salah making the run off Jacobs, the left back, just let the ball run, and then it was just the weight of the pass that allowed Ekitike to come onto it 6-7 yards out and just took the ball away left-footed.
His face, he was smiling, Ekitike, as soon as he saw the ball leave Mo Salah's foot. It was an absolutely brilliantly weighted ball. Great assist, as you can hear in the background. Listen to those Liverpool fans singing up Mo Salah, not the goal scorer, Ekitike. They know that his task was the easiest. What a ball from Mo Salah.
An appreciation for the involvement of Mo Salah, and Liverpool lead 2-0. 2-1 on aggregate. And we are 8 minutes into the second half here at Anfield. Gravenberch now with McAllister. Forward ball, Wirtz tries to dink it forward. Salah hit it first time. Gravenberch on the follow-up. Liverpool have scored again. Gravenberch left-footed. And Liverpool now have daylight. They lead 3-0 on the night. 3-1 in aggregate. There was nothing that Xhaka could do about that. 3-0.
It was never in doubt, was it? A European night at Anfield. Such good play again from Liverpool. Mo Salah involved. It's a stinging shot with his left foot on the half volley. Straight to the goalkeeper. Too harsh for the goalkeeper to handle. Parries it straight back out to Gravenberch. Inside of his right foot. It's not a perfect finish. Watching the replay now. It's a good move again from Liverpool. It's the inside of his right foot. Hits it into the ground, but those fans away to our right in the Kop. They don't care. What a lovely ball into Mo Salah. Angles his body, hits it on the half volley. Straight at the goalkeeper. The pace and power of Mo Salah's half volley. Goalkeeper can only parry. Gravenberch, right place, right time. Inside of his left boot, into the ground, into the bottom corner, and that's 3.
Like you say, stinging from Salah. It was just an instinctive first-time effort on the half volley that the goalkeeper actually did well to parry Xhaka. But then Gravenberch on the follow-up, left-footed down into the ground. And 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes. And Liverpool are now leading 3-0, and they have a cushion. And Bayern Munich and Harry Kane are on the score sheet again. So Bayern Munich 2, Atalanta 0 on the night. Bayern Munich 8-1 on aggregate. Bearing in mind Newcastle have gone out 8-3 and Chelsea went out 8-2. Liverpool are threatening more goals. Here is Salah, couldn't get the shot away, Bardacci. And Galatasaray are looking a little bit bedraggled at the back. And Liverpool now are oozing confidence and the crowd are responding. And any apprehension that might have been present at the start of the game has soon evaporated now. Liverpool with Szoboszlai right-hand side. Hard to see a way back for Galatasaray.
Well, he fancies this now, Mo Salah, doesn't he? All of a sudden in the second half he really has sprung to life. He's been integral and key to everything that Liverpool have done. His assist for the first, his shot there for the second, his movement, sharp in behind, his dribbling skills. All of a sudden, like I said, after that first goal in the second half, the belief has come back into Anfield.
Wirtz rides one challenge, nicks it through. Frimpong with a cross. It's an own goal. It's gone off Singo. It is raining goals at Anfield. Liverpool with a second half blitz have scored 3 goals in the space of 5 minutes. Singo with the own goal. And Liverpool are progressing through to the quarter-finals. 4-0.
Brilliant from Liverpool. They've smelt blood and they've gone for it. They've got the first goal in the second half and they knew that they were on top. And this is what they haven't done in recent weeks. They've exerted their dominance on this game. It's a great interchange of passing on the edge of the box. Slipped into Frimpong and it will be checked for offside. Frimpong, he looks slightly offside. The referee has paused the game. I think this one might be ruled out, you know. It's an own goal. It's a great ball across the box from Frimpong. Almost indefendable, puts it into his own net. But I think the goal's going to be ruled out.
Yeah, he was offside and that goal does not count. So it goes back to Liverpool 3, Galatasaray 0 on the night. And it means that it's 3-1 on aggregate. Bayern Munich, though, have got a third goal. So they're 3-0 up now against Atalanta, and that is 9-1 on aggregate. Liverpool, though, undeterred, still coming forward. Here is Salah, battling for it. Bardacci goes to ground to clear the ball away, but Konate wins it back, stepping out of defence towards Wirtz, 30 yards out from goal, towards McAllister. And they're now playing with a tempo that Galatasaray are struggling to cope with. 11 minutes into the second half, all Liverpool.
Yeah, they're at it now, Liverpool. They really are, they're at it. They're enjoying themselves. It's like a short, sharp training session for them, moving the ball about quickly. But that goal's so frustrating because from Liverpool's point of view, Frimpong's in an area of the pitch, he's looking the whole way across the defensive line. There's no excuse for him being offside. It's so easy to keep yourself onside in that position.
Liverpool are progressing. Tottenham require 2 more goals. In North London, Chris Coles.
And they are giving it a real go. Pedro Porro has just had an excellent chance outside of his right foot. Juan Musso on the Athletic goal. It's a terrific save with his right hand as Dragusin's header is straight at the goalkeeper. Spurs have half an hour to find 2, but the way they're playing, you wouldn't bet against it. Tottenham 2, Athletic 1, 6-4, Athletic on aggregate.
And full-time in the WSL, West Ham, Manchester United, Charlotte Richardson.
West Ham 0, Manchester United 0. A subpar attacking display sees United drop to third, failed to create enough, wasteful in key moments. A gritty point lifts the Hammers further from relegation. West Ham 0, Manchester United 0.
And earlier, Chelsea beat Brighton and Hove Albion by 2-1. Yunus Akgün is going to be coming on, a Turkish international, 25 years of age. He actually had a loan spell at Leicester in the Championship in 23-24, 2 goals in 29 appearances. Actually has done well for Galatasaray this season, 8 goals and 8 assists in 34 appearances, so he will come on. He's just getting his final instructions from Okan Burak, the Galatasaray coach, who once actually scored for Galatasaray against Liverpool in a 3-2 win back in 2006. Not so happy memories on this occasion, as his side are heading out as they trail by 3-0. And they've hardly laid a glove on Liverpool, have they?
No, they were miles off it in the first half. Liverpool dominated in every area. Their goal tally now represents their dominance.
So Liverpool would be away to Paris Saint-Germain, the holders in the first leg of the quarter-finals, as it looks like they're going to be going through with half an hour to go here. Free kick is given against Canate. It means that Yilmaz wins that free kick, and then they can make the change. And Lucas Torreira, the former Arsenal and Uruguayan international, is going to be coming off, and Yunus Akgün. So that's an attacking change being made. He's going to come on, but like Tottenham, they are the ones who are requiring the 2 goals.
It's in a perfect situation, this game now, for Liverpool. It really is. They've set it up nicely for themselves, because Galatasaray now have to come out. They've got to open up, and that gives Liverpool the opportunity to hit them again on the break, which they've looked very much like doing in this second half. They've been excellent going forward in the second half.
I think there's a little bit of a disturbance over on the far side. The stewards have had to move in the bottom tier of the Sir Kenny Dalglish stand, as here is Szoboszlai on the edge of the area. Szoboszlai's shot takes a deflection. It looked like there was possibly a Galatasaray supporter who had been asked to leave and was escorted out. I did expect that there would be the odd Galatasaray fan who would have made it through into the designated home areas. In fact, there were more being led out as well in that bottom tier.
Well, they certainly haven't been rumbled celebrating, have they?
No, they haven't. It'll be more out of frustration than jumping up and down in annoyance rather than celebration. Ekitike, strong run forward, nicks it towards Wirtz, goes away from him. Jacobs, the left back, touched in, clears on the edge of the area. 29 minutes remaining. Liverpool are leading 3-0 on the night. The 3-1 up on aggregate 5 live. Here is Salah. Salah into the area. Wirtz links up well. Back towards Salah. Curling effort. Oh, what a goal! What a splendid goal from Mo Salah! And what a way to bring up a landmark for the Egyptian king in the Champions League. That is his 50th goal in the Champions League, and you have to say that was spectacular. 4-0.
Brilliant, absolutely sensational from Mo Salah. You can run out of superlatives for him at times, and he's been at it in the second half tonight. He really has been at his best. He's looked sharp, he's looked lively, he's been direct. He's got his assist as he turns to the Kop and he pulls on his Liverpool badge. Breaks down to his knees before he walks back to the centre circle. That was a special finish from Mo Salah, it really was. Cuts inside on his favoured left foot, but this time in the second half he's getting the service. The ball's coming into him earlier. Once again there's a VAR check though. You can hear the hush that comes onto Anfield. It's a lovely 1-2 for Florian Wirtz inside of his left boot, just outside the 18-yard box, out of the reach of the goalkeeper. First touch excellent, finish superb, but it will be checked.
And it has checked, and it's been given the go-ahead. And the first African player to score 50 goals in the Champions League. And what a strike. He's scored many a fine goal in his Liverpool career. That is actually 255 goals now in his 435th appearance. But he's missed the penalty in the first half. He has atoned with an absolute beauty.
Oh, his assist was as good as his goal. The assist for Ekitike's goal was superb, and his goal was everything that you would expect from Mo Salah. And actually, when you see the replay, the intricacy of the 1-2 on the edge of the box for Wirtz actually fires it back at him from 3 or 4 yards, could get stuck under his feet. His first touch is brilliant, and then he just opens his body up, and well, it's just an excellent finish, it really is.
On my calculations, that is 3 goals in 11 minutes in this second half that has blown Galatasaray away, and Liverpool's leading goal scorer in European competition with his 53rd goal in his 95th appearance in European competition. And we were not quite behind it, but we just knew with the curl that it generated off that left boot that it gave Xhaka no chance whatsoever.
One of them, wasn't it? As soon as he left his boot, you could see from the angle that we were sat, it was so up and away from the goalkeeper, curling into the top right-hand corner as we look at it. Really good finish, excellent. He's been very good in the second half, Mo Salah, very good.
Well, for Galatasaray now, there is definitely no way back when you're 4-0 down against a Liverpool team now that has the bit between their teeth, and will be looking for more goals. The 6-0 victory against Karabakh is actually their biggest win of the season, but they are rampant at the moment. Here is Ekitike. Ekitike, what he was going to shoot, passes the ball out wide. Wirtz wins a corner kick for Liverpool. Liverpool 4-0 up, back to Tottenham. Chris Coles.
Tottenham 2, Atletico Madrid 1. Spurs need 2 goals. You cannot take your eyes off this. It is end-to-end. Spurs throwing everything at it. Atleti looking dangerous on the break. Ruggieri with a decent effort saved by Vicario. Andy Reid. Spurs are still well in this. If they can get the next goal within the next 10 minutes, we're in for some finale.
Yeah, definitely. They're knocking the ball about really well. They're getting in some really good positions. Simmons is coming alive. There's some runs in behind, and they're definitely creating chances. The only worry that you do have is that they leave themselves a little bit open. But as this game wears on and as we start getting closer to 80 minutes, they're going to have to commit more men forward. But they will get chances, and if they can just take one of them, they're well in this game.
23 minutes to play. Atletico still with a 6-4 aggregate lead.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Andy. Liverpool are leading 4-0 on the night. We're in the 65th minute. They're 4-1 up on aggregate. And Sane being booed, passes the ball out to Noah on this near side. And Liverpool are going to be making a substitution, and Curtis Jones is going to be coming on for Liverpool. So Sporting against Arsenal, Bayern against Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain against Liverpool. And currently, as it stands, it would be Barcelona against Atletico Madrid, but 2 goals for Spurs could take that into extra time. But time running out for Tottenham, who have that vital game on Sunday afternoon against Nottingham Forest down at the bottom. That will actually bring you, Paul will actually be on commentary duties for that one at 2:15 ahead of the League Cup final between Arsenal and Manchester City. As here is Curtis Jones, who's going to be coming on, and it is going to be Frimpong who's going to be going off, so Szoboszlai now will fill in at right back.
You would think
Curtis
so,
Jones.
but we've seen Curtis Jones play there, haven't we? At the moment, Szoboszlai is not looking like he's going to wander back into that position. He's looking over towards the bench, Szoboszlai, but he's done that usual, I'll go down and tie my boot, pretend I'm not listening, so I don't really want to play right back today. I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah. So Frimpong goes along the bench, handshakes with everybody, all very cordial. And we're approaching the midway point of the second half, and Liverpool are flying as Gravenberch hoists the ball on the diagonal, long and high downfield, and Ekitike's after it. Then his first touch takes him away past his man, and he pulls it back. Salah hit the crossbar, left-footed, strikes the top of the crossbar, comes still out in play, right-hand side. Curtis Jones rolls his man. Here is Szoboszlai, plays it towards Salah. So much movement for Liverpool, looking very fluent and threatening. Good save. Header on the rebound, and then touched it over onto the roof of the net. Liverpool have hit the crossbar twice, and had it not been for Xhaka, they could be approaching double figures.
So many chances from Liverpool. This is everything that we've talked about that they didn't do against Tottenham, that they didn't do in the first half. This second half performance has been decisive, it's been clinical, they've created chances, they've forced saves from the goalkeeper, they've scored goals. They've been a really good watch.
Well, they're already leading 4-0. Thinking of the saves that Xhaka has made, twice against the crossbar. They could easily have matched the scoreline when they beat another Turkish side, Besiktas, which is one of the joint biggest win in the Champions League history. And they beat Besiktas in 2017, 8-0, matching Real Madrid against Malmo a couple of years earlier. Such has been the dominance that they've enjoyed here at Anfield. So McAllister in the centre circle, gets the ball back from Ekitike towards Salah once again. Quite a high line by Galatasaray. I'm wondering if we're going to go anywhere else at the moment on 5 Live, as we've got just over 20 minutes remaining, as Konate now looks for Szoboszlai. Kirkes was the one who was actually trying to break that last line of defence of Galatasaray. Here is Gravenberch once more. And Gravenberch will try and run forward now, stopped by the white shirts of the Turkish champions and current league leaders, who really have been put to the sword here tonight. Here is McAllister, he's going to shoot from distance, and it's on the rise, right-footed goal kick. We'll go back to Tottenham and Chris Coles.
Julian Alvarez very nearly with a wonderful goal to restore Atletico Madrid's 3-goal advantage. Picks it up on the left, beats Van de Ven, then sets off towards goal. It's a terrific run, right foot shot, well saved by Vicario. We've seen some great goals, Andy. I think that would have been the best of the lot.
Yeah, incredible piece of skill, really was. And the game is wide open now. There's gaps all over. Players coming on the ball, getting on it, turning, chances at both ends. Really entertaining stuff here.
It remains 2-1 Spurs, and they're still 2 goals behind.
You know, in the first half, when I said my memory, and I was praising my memory, it's not as good as it actually I thought it was, because it was 2007 when they beat Besiktas 8-0.
Well, after that, I'm surprised you remember what you said.
Yilmaz coming forward. They're going to make a change, and it is going to be Eren El-Mali who is going to be coming on, who is a Turkish international. He was suspended in November for 45 days. He was one of the 1,024 players who were suspended. You may have read about that due to that betting probe in the Turkish game. So El-Mali is going to be coming on, but this is the white flag being raised by those wearing the white shirts of Galatasaray, as Ekitike looks to come through the middle, because a defender coming on just to shore up that defence. Bayern Munich have got a 4th goal. Bayern Munich 4, Atalanta 0. That is 10-1 on aggregate.
I know you've questioned your memory, and I don't expect you to have this stat to hand, but I do just wonder, in this round of 16, has there ever been this many goals across all of the matches? Incredible totals, isn't there?
It is, yeah. And you're right, I don't have the answer, but I would agree with you.
I think it's got to be very close, if not the most, surely, with the amount of goals. I mean, you look, Barca 8, you get the 3 against Liverpool, you look at the Bayern Munich score as well, PSG 8-2, Chelsea.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Porto Bodo Glimt game.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think. I think it would have to be one of the highest rounds for sure. It's been a goal fest. And we've got more European action tomorrow on 5 Live. Aston Villa against Lille at Villa Park on 5 Live in the Europa League. Fulham Burnley in the Saturday goal service at 3, followed by Everton Chelsea on 5 Live, and then Spurs Forest at 2:15, followed by the League Cup final live from Wembley, Arsenal against Manchester City. Galatasaray are looking for a consolation with 18 minutes remaining. And the cross comes in from the right-hand side, and Curtis Jones at right-back takes no chances to stoop and to head the ball behind for a corner kick.
And that's all it would be, wouldn't it, at this stage for Galatasaray now? Liverpool have really done a job on them in the second half. Nothing else but a consolation would be what they could take away from Anfield. Alisson and his back four, they certainly won't want that. See the Liverpool goalkeeper now rallying his troops inside the 6-yard box to defend this corner, in-swinging corner from this near side.
In front of where the away supporters would normally be housed in that Anfield Road end, that bottom tier. It's an in-swinging corner, pushed away by Liverpool, knocked back in by Akgun. The break could be on for Liverpool as they get it up towards Ekitike, but it was won back by Jacobs, and now gives it towards Noah on this near side, the left. And then Noah delivers the cross, blocked though by Curtis Jones, rocked onto his heels, comes back towards Noah, swings it over on his right foot and all the way out of play for a goal kick. So Liverpool will have a chance to avenge the team that knocked them out of last year's competition, actually at this stage, in the quarter-finals. Paris Saint-Germain. Although, could the story be happening at Tottenham? There's been another goal. Is the fight back on? Chris Coles.
It isn't. This could be the goal that ends Spurs' comeback, because Atletico Madrid have scored 2-2 on the night and they have their 3-goal advantage back. David Hanko has headed in Julian Alvarez's corner at the front post. Static Spurs defending, and with that advantage back at 3, Andy Reid, and only 15 minutes to play, you fancy now that is that for Atletico?
Yeah, I think it's game over now, and it's way too easy. Really poor defending. Like you mentioned, the Tottenham defenders caught on their heels. Hanko comes to the near post, decent delivery, goes in between 3 players and glances it in at the near post. Well worked from an Atletico point of view. Really poor defending from a Tottenham point of view, and I think it's tie over now.
3 goals needed again, and in fact Atletico in again. This could seal it once and for all. Alvarez is well blocked. It's still 2-2, but that's now 7-4 Atletico on aggregate.
Here Mo Salah departs to a standing ovation on a memorable night for him, and also for Africa with that 50th goal in the Champions League. I think he wanted to make the change, and he's actually gone straight down the tunnel as he's replaced by Cody Gakpo.
He has to come off there, Mo Salah. He did the universal signal of rolling the wrists to come off and ask the bench for a substitution, but he's been excellent, especially in the second half. First half he was good, but second half you'd almost say that he was back to his very best. He was lively, the timing of the runs, the assist for the goal was sensational. I mean, that has to be seen to be appreciated, and his goal was as good as you'll see from him.
And while we're away with Chris and Andy, El Mali actually came onto the field to replace Bardacci, so he has now gone in at left back, and Jacobs has moved alongside Singo in the heart of their defence for Galatasaray, who have got a game against Trabzonspor, who are third in the table and are only 7 points behind Galatasaray, so their priorities now are retaining their title in the Turkish Super League. Liverpool are leading 4-0 on the night, 4-1 on aggregate. And with that goal for Atletico in North London, in that last 8, you're going to have 3 Spanish sides, 2 English, 1 Portuguese, a German and a French side, as the quarter-final lineup is now taking shape. Sporting against Arsenal, Bayern against Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain against Liverpool, and then an all-Spanish affair, Barcelona against Atletico Madrid. As a Galatasaray player, it's Noah, has taken a rather awkward fall in the Anfield Road end, in towards the advertising hoardings.
Not quite sure what's happened there. Szoboszlai, a couple of Liverpool players in around him, just getting to see it on the replay. Now there's no Liverpool player anywhere near him. He's attempted a back heel. He's crashed into the advertising hoardings, and it looks like he might have hit his right hip or his arm or his elbow. There's no foul, no suggestion of a foul, but he looks in an awful lot of pain laid down there.
So Noah Lang is the player getting the treatment. There's a bit of concern there from a couple of other Galatasaray players who are just standing over him and having a look. And also, in fact, Virgil van Dijk was showing concern as well. He was actually down on one knee and checking on the welfare of the Dutchman. They do have an option to buy him from Napoli. Never really worked out for him in Naples. Just the 1 goal in 27 appearances. Previously played at Ajax, PSV and Bruges, but has scored 2 goals in his 10 appearances on loan. Although the physio's not in any real hurry, is he? Blimey. He's like having a Sunday stroll the way he's just wandered over to him.
No, I think he's got a physio and a doctor around him. I think that's the extra paramedic from inside the stadium going over to them, because the stretcher's on its way around as well. That doesn't look pretty for him.
No, it doesn't. So a stoppage here at Anfield. We'll go back to Tottenham. Chris Coles in the company of Andy Reid.
2-2, Spurs need 3 in 10 minutes, and Andy, you can just feel the atmosphere at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The moment that Hansko header hit the net, it did stick the pin in the balloon, didn't it? It had been so lively, but you fancy this is a step too far for Spurs, albeit they're still on the front foot.
Yeah, they're still on the front foot, but Atletico have dropped in now. They're happy to just soak up a little bit of pressure. They've done what they've needed to do really in this game, and like I say, it's fizzled out. The crowd have kind of I think they've settled for what it's going to be. They know that Tottenham are going out. It hasn't been a bad performance from Tottenham by any stretch of the imagination, but just really disappointing to give away that goal at that particular point that just drained what could have been an exciting end to the game.
Destiny Udogie is on, as is Lucas Bergvall, so positives ahead of Sunday's big game that Igor Tudor is getting some bodies back. You watch them play like this and you think, how on earth are Spurs in a relegation fight, because they've been good. But it looks like the Champions League journey ends here tonight. 2-2 on the night and 7-4 Atletico on aggregate.
Well, we haven't actually resumed players yet. They actually got Noah Lang back to his feet, but he looked extremely groggy, didn't he? Although he didn't seem to bang his head when he went into the advertising hoardings.
We've not seen enough replays to actually ascertain what happened. I mean, he went into the advertising hoardings at pace, and we know how tall the advertising hoardings are. And it's housed over there where the away supporters would be normally in Anfield, for those of you that know Anfield. And he looked really innocuous. He couldn't work out whether it was his hip, his shoulder, but there was immediate concern for his welfare. All the Liverpool players immediately went over to him and called over the physios and the doctors. And as you say, he got back on his feet. He really was wincing and grimacing in pain, didn't look right at all, went back to the ground, and now the stadium's in a complete state of hush. The paramedics and the stretchers over there, looks a really nasty one for him, whatever it is.
Well, the stretcher's there. It looks like he's going to be carried off on that. There is a lot of medical personnel who are tending to him. The referee and players from both sides are also having a look as well. So this is a lengthy stoppage in proceedings, with Liverpool 4-0 up on the night, and we'll go to MK Dons in the meantime and Paul Gilmore.
MK Dons closing in on 14 games unbeaten. They lead 1-0, although while it remains 1-0, still a chance for Colchester. Arthur Reed had a deflected effort just over the bar. 8 minutes left. MK Dons 1, Colchester 0.
There's a suggestion that he may have cut his hand on the top of the hoarding, as Mauro Icardi is going to replace him. So the substitute has been replaced, but at the minute they can't resume the game because there's still part of the stretcher that is actually still on the playing surface.
And he's not on it as yet. He's laid at the head of the stretcher.
But it's got to be more than just a cut hand, because there's 4 medical people tending to him. And when he got to his feet, I thought he was going to keel over.
He looked like he was, didn't he? He certainly was unsteady when he got up and tried to stand up. But he tried to stand up, and that was against a lot of people's medical advice that were in and around him. You could see the doctors and the physios telling him that he needed to sit down and he needed to go back to the ground. So really, really strange. When it doesn't look good at all for him, does it?
No. The referee is making sure that all the medical equipment is off the playing surface, so he's in the best possible care now, and he's going to be lifted onto the stretcher, unless he's fainted at the sight of his own blood. I mean, you don't want to speculate at this situation, but they are taking their time.
There must be the severity to the injury that was picked up on the cameras, because very quickly we saw a replay from a distance, and then since that situation we've seen no more replays, and you know when that happens it's obviously not to be reviewed.
Yeah, well, he's now on the stretcher. They've got his arms held aloft, so that would signify that there is possibly a cut there to his hands as well. And he's going to be carried off to, I'm sure, which will be a sporting reception from the Liverpool supporters here at Anfield. In the meantime, after that lengthy interruption, play is back underway, and Liverpool are 4-1 up on aggregate, 4-0 on the night. They've overturned that slender deficit from Istanbul a week ago. They're looking for more goals as Kerkez runs forward. And there is the reception as he's carried off on the stretcher in front of the main stand for Noah Lang. And by doing so as well, both of his arms are in the air as he will make his way down the tunnel. So it's definitely a hand injury.
Be
And we'll leave
interesting
it at
to
that.
see what it actually was and what part of the advertising hoardings that made that injury happen.
In comes the cross. Well, he definitely had a reaction when he stood up to his feet. So that is a real concern. And like you say, for what looked like it was going to be quite innocuous, I think it might be quite serious for Noah Lang. 7 minutes remaining of normal time. Full time in the Championship then. Southampton, Norwich City. Sahel Sahi.
Southampton 1, Norwich 0. Southampton then move into the playoff picture, Ian, with a nervy win. Finazaz with his 9th goal of the season in the first half, proving to be the winner. Norwich, they deserved more, but Southampton finished the evening in 6th place. Full time, Southampton 1, Norwich 0.
Cheers, Sahel. 5 Live and Radio Merseyside at Anfield. Curtis Jones inside his own half, being pressured. The back pass to Alisson will get it away before Atkin can get there. Icardi then will now play through the middle instead of Noah Lang, as Konate controls this ball just inside the Liverpool half, and then back towards Curtis Jones. Tottenham tried to engineer some sort of a comeback, but 2 goals for Atletico Madrid have thwarted that, as Kirkes plays the ball in, kneed up in the air by Jacobs, and at the second time he clears only as far as McAllister. Currently 2-2 in North London, so that means that it is 7-4 to Atletico Madrid on aggregate. Bayern Munich 4-0 up on the night against Atalanta, so they're 10-1 up overall. And if you missed it earlier in our first commentary, Newcastle United were beaten 7-2 to go out 8-3 on aggregate, as Van Dijk pings the ball out towards that far side and brought down effortlessly off the chest by Gakpo. Runs in field to Ekitike, able to turn 30 yards out from goal to Wirtz. Jones comes forward from right back, powering through the middle, trying to play through that crowd of bodies, and then Wirtz to Kirkes, unmarked with the cross, not been cut out first time, and picked up by the goalkeeper, Çakır.
Yeah, they looked like they could score at will. Liverpool getting so much time and space in the box that time. It's Kirkes on the left-hand side, whips it into the substitute. Gakpo doesn't really make a connection on it. Another half opportunity for Liverpool. You feel this game was finished a long time ago.
Atalanta have got a consolation, so it's 4-1 to Bayern Munich, and that is 10-2 on aggregate.
Do you know what? There's another conversation, what Mark said to us before the game, about the golfing quality, as in, the English sides in the Champions League and where do they rank. But actually, when we whittle it down to Europe's best teams, to be beaten by such scorelines, you'd expect much closer games.
Yes, you would. Yeah. But the teams that have knocked out the English sides, I'm thinking Paris Saint-Germain are the holders, Real Madrid are the 10 times winners, Barcelona are the Spanish champions and league leaders, and Atletico Madrid, and well, the damage really was done in that. Well, you were there, you saw it unfold in front of your very eyes in that catastrophic first half last week.
And you did wonder how and what damage that would do to Tottenham. Obviously, we know how fragile and poor that they've been this season, but actually, was there a little bit of life? I mean, there's a lot of talk the manager would be gone after that game, but there was a little bit of life and fighting spirit here at Anfield at the weekend, getting that draw. And it sounds like there might have been a little bit of the similar tonight against Nottingham Forest. I was actually against Atletico. I was actually dreading going at the weekend against Nottingham Forest. I didn't know what I was going to go into and what type of atmosphere and performance. But actually, there might be a little bit of a spark there.
Well, you'll hear that game 2:15 on Sunday afternoon before the League Cup final, which is at 4:30 between Arsenal and Manchester City. Ekitike and Szoboszlai. Ekitike returns the ball to Szoboszlai, forces him just a little bit further out wide. Chiesa is going to be coming on. Szoboszlai to McAllister, and then Ekitike turns on the edge of the area, left footed, just puts it wide. We'll go back to Tottenham. Chris Coles.
90 seconds to play. Spurs 2, Atletico 2, 7-4 Atleti on aggregate, as Xavi Simons goes down inside the area and the referee points to the spot. So Tottenham, in the final minute, have a very late penalty to go potentially within 2 ahead of stoppage time. Simons with quick feet. In comes the challenge. Referee points to the spot, Andy Reid, and there is still life in this game.
Yeah, well, look, it was a decent move. Simmons he's been good tonight. He's got on the ball where possible. He's wriggled about there. He's got himself into the box, and it would look like a lazy enough challenge from Jimenez there. And Simmons has the chance now to pull one back. But you know, the game is gone. But Tottenham have done all right. Agree with what Rob was just been saying there. There's a little bit of spark, a little bit of life from them tonight, and I think the fans have appreciated that. Chance for them to win the game.
There was a resounding chorus of when the Spurs go marching in just before that penalty was given. The fans have appreciated what they've seen tonight, and if they can win the game on the night, then it would be something. Simons is going to take it. He's ready towards the south stand, away to our right. Goalkeeper bounces. Simons stutters, shoots and scores in off the post. Spurs take a 3-2 lead on the night. They still need to find 2 goals, and we wait to see how much of added on time will be played. Tottenham 3, Atletico Madrid 2, and that's 7-5 Atleti on aggregate.
Cheers, Chris. Thanks, Andy. Triple change being made by Liverpool. Chiesa has come on for Ekitike, and Yoni has come on for Gravenberch, and then that third and final change will be Ngamoa coming on, and Florian Wirtz is the player who is going off for Liverpool, who an opportunity to rest players as they travel to Brighton away at the weekend.
But what was potentially a tough task made to look very easy by Liverpool tonight. Job done, hence the substitutions. A really good second half performance from Liverpool has seen them over the line.
And Liverpool have got a corner kick as they attack the Kop. 4-0 on the night. Hit the crossbar twice, also had a goal disallowed, created many a chance, and the ball is bundled in on this occasion. And there is McAllister, but in fact the referee says no, it will not count, and it is the second goal to be disallowed. And McAllister had both arms held aloft, and then he turned to see that his smile would be eventually wiped off, with the Polish referee saying there was a foul in the build-up.
In swinging a corner again, Virgil van Dijk jumps into the goalkeeper. That's not a foul for me. Virgil van Dijk's looking at the ball. The goalkeeper gets his angle of approach wrong. He gets behind Virgil van Dijk. He then tries to wrap his arm around Virgil van Dijk to get to the ball. I think that's an error of judgment from the goalkeeper. McAllister profits from it because Van Dijk's able to knock it down into the 6-yard box. I can't see how that is a foul on the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's caused his own problem there.
Be interesting to see whether it's actually the VAR is not a Polish referee, but he's Marco Di Bello. He's from Italy, but they've actually stuck with the original decision, and that goal has been disallowed.
Watch that for yourself, make your own decisions on that. As an ex-goalkeeper, I'd have been very surprised if I'd have got a foul for that.
There will be 6 minutes of added time, which we're now into, and you will be able to see it for yourself tonight if you're able to watch BBC One and Champions League Match of the Day. It's on at 10:40. So as we hand to Tony Livesey at 10:30, if you don't fancy listening to Tony and you still want your little fix of football to see all the goals, and there will be a lot of goals to squeeze in, then Match of the Day, 10:40, BBC One. That really should have been a 5th goal for Liverpool.
It was, yeah. It was a really good corner kick right into the crossbar, and the goalkeeper just got his angle of approach wrong. The ball dipped too quickly for him. Van Dijk got in front of him, and it looked like he'd fairly won the header. Yes, he was in the goalkeeper's way, but the goalkeeper had put himself in the wrong position to start with.
So in one half of the draw, we will have Paris Saint-Germain against Liverpool. First leg to be in Paris. beIN, Real Madrid, also in that half of the draw. And then on the other half of the draw, you will have Barcelona against Atletico Madrid and Sporting against Arsenal, with that first leg for Arsenal to be played in Lisbon in early April. Liverpool keeping their season alive in European competition. They've also got a quarter-final in the FA Cup, of course, as we go back to Tottenham and Chris Coles.
90 seconds of stoppage time to play. Spurs still need 2 goals. They very nearly got one of them with a Kolo Muani effort well blocked on the line. Gallagher's just gone down wanting a penalty, not given. Spurs corner, that's headed away into the final minute. Spurs 3, Atletico Madrid 2, 7-5 Atleti on aggregate.
Thank you, Chris. Galatasaray have a free kick deep inside their own half, and Liverpool, knowing that they've got the holders to come here, has got to be an advantage for the second leg at Anfield.
It always is. I mean, it's a psychological advantage if you go away and get some kind of result, but it's also a psychological advantage for the team that you're going away to if they do a job on you in the first leg, as we've seen in so many of the ties in this round. The damage has been inflicted within that first game. Vitally important that they go there and come away with something, as in that they've shown tonight. Okay, a 1-0 deficit, but they can still put the performance and get a result.
Chiesa with a layoff to Ungamoa, still full of running is Kirkes. Ungamoa will go it alone. He reverses the pass towards Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai shoots across the face of goal. Angled wide. Gakpo, I think, was hoping that it was going to be more of a cross rather than a shot, and it's gone out for a goal kick. Liverpool still lead 4-0.
They could have had 10 tonight. They really could. They've had the chances, they've had the opportunities. They've had goals disallowed. They've had so many shots on goal, especially in this second half. They've been excellent. I mean, Galatasaray haven't been the force that we expected them to be. They're a team coming into this game on a really good run of form, 7 points clear at the top of the Turkish league. Expected much more of a fight put up from them with a 1-0 lead. They've barely laid a glove on Liverpool, but you've got to credit Liverpool for the way they've approached it.
That was Liverpool's 30th shot, their 15th on... Well, 15 have been on target. I was going to say that one went wide. I just read it wrong. 30 shots, 15 on target, and 4 goals.
They could have had 10 at least, and they've had a goal ruled out, the own goal that was offside. 1 or 2 more really clear-cut opportunities. They've been clinical tonight, Liverpool, everything that they haven't been in recent weeks.
Talked earlier on about that Barcelona game, that semi-final in 2019. Since then, Liverpool have won just 2 of 9 knockout matches at Anfield. They actually had lost their last 2 against Paris Saint-Germain and then Atalanta in the Europa League in 2024, but they've changed that tonight with a convincing display, leading 4-0, and Bayern Munich have beaten Atalanta 4-1, so they have gone through 10-2 on aggregate. Liverpool with Szoboszlai, right-hand side, and all those questions and the added scrutiny about Arne Slot will be put on hold for the time being. Here is Chiesa. Chiesa's shot blocked by Sholoi, rebounds towards Ungamoa. Ungamoa waits. Is the time for yet another goal in stoppage time? Liverpool, though, have been dominant, and it has been reflected in the chances that they've created and the goals that they've scored.
And we failed to admit that they missed a penalty in the first half as well. There's that opportunity as well. It really could have been 10 tonight, genuinely. You know, it's a phrase that you sometimes just throw away, but this game could have genuinely been as big a score as the others that we've seen in one of the rounds. They've been very good tonight, answered a lot of questions, Liverpool, but it's the consistency and continuity of being able to do this on a regular basis and play this way.
Yeah, well, it has been completely comprehensive. MK Dons have beaten Colchester United by a 1-0. Remember, Southampton earlier beat Norwich City to move into the playoffs by a 1-0 at St Mary's. Here is McAllister, nice take into his feet, rolls it out towards the left-hand side. Ungamoa comes in off that left touchline, enters the penalty area, does the little step over. Ungamoa towards McAllister. McAllister's shot takes the deflection, loops up in the air, and is saved by Çakır, the goalkeeper for Galatasaray, who has certainly been overworked.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wanted that 5 minutes bolted on of added time. Liverpool would quite happily have had the final whistle, as would Galatasaray. Damage limitation it's been for them for a long time now.
Here is Ungamoa. Ungamoa looking for his first goal at Anfield, fouled on the edge of the area. The referee says there is no foul. They clear the ball away downfield, and then it is Szoboszlai up against Yilmaz, and one little leap in the air, can't keep the ball in play. A look at the referee's watch, and there indeed is the final whistle. Liverpool comprehensively move into the last 8. They progress into the quarter-finals, and they set up a date with the holders, Paris Saint-Germain, after an extremely dominant performance here, beating Galatasaray by 4-0, and there could have been so many more. Missed penalty, 2 goals disallowed, twice they hit the crossbar. Paul Robinson.
Booed off at the weekend by some section of the supporters, but certainly not this evening. This is the performance that the supporters want to come here and see. Very dominant, especially in the second half. We've seen Liverpool be dominant in games a number of times this season, but without being clinical. and they were very clinical in the second half. They were devastating. The pace, the power, the quickness, and they got that second goal in the second half, and they went on. They kept going, they put the foot on the pedal, and they put their opponents to the sword, and there was no way back into this game for Galatasaray. The way that Liverpool attacked them, pressed high, there was no way that Galatasaray could get out of their own half. There was no type of possession for them, no threat on Alisson's goal. He made half a save at the end of the first half from a glancing header. But all in all, an extremely dominant, confident performance from Liverpool, and as you'll hear, cheered loudly off the pitch tonight.
And the crowning moment had to be that spectacular goal from Mo Salah, his 50th in the Champions League, the first African player to hit 50 goals in the Champions League, as Arne Slot makes his way to acknowledge the supporters here in Anfield. It's a happy Anfield because Liverpool have progressed 4-1 on aggregate. Mark.
More from Ian and Paul after 10 o'clock here on 5 Live. Let's go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where that has been a good night, a good game, and a good. I know they've gone out, Chris Coles, but there are positives there.
There are plenty of positives tonight, Mark. They were applauded off the pitch, were Spurs. The fans stayed right to the end. Oh, when the Spurs came marching in, raining down, a standing ovation. That's not happened here for a long, long time. They gave this a really, really good go.